Chapter 221, Tianshui University. Don't blame yourselves. Xiao Ze's just abnormal, Yuanjin said, shaking his head. All right, I'll have some healing spirit masters tend to you. Xiao Ze was holding back. If he hadn't, he would have cut your heads off. At this, everyone instinctively touched their still cold necks and felt a chill run down their spines. If it in a real life-or-death duel, their heads might already have rolled. Get treated, and then keep training harder, Yuanjin said, turning away as his expression darkened. This time, Thunder Academy had finished only stronger than Elephant Armor Academy and on par with Blazing Academy. It lagged behind Heaven Do Royal Academy, Tianshui Academy, and Shenfeng Academy. Being weaker than Heaven Do Royal was understandable, but Tianshui and Shenfeng shouldn't have been worse than Thunder, so why had they lost? It had to be the Academy's problem. Yuanjin watched for a few days and concluded it wasn't one big flaw, but a string of small ones. Coordination issues and a lot of little things to fix. With no second round of exchange matches, the tournament wrapped up quickly. Emperor Shuoye got the results immediately. Ha ha ha! Excellent! Xiao Ze truly is the spirit master I value. His strength is leagues above those from the other academies, he crowed. Your Majesty, I believe our Heaven Do Royal Academy has a very high chance of winning the Soul Master competition, Meng Shenji said respectfully. Good, allocate more resources and let them cultivate properly. We must push for the championship, Shuoye replied. Your Majesty, aside from Shi Mo, it seems no one else has claimed our academy's resources, Bai Baoshan reported. Shuoye blinked. Are you sure? It's true. They usually cultivate in their villas. I don't know what resources they use. In any case, they haven't applied for any. Bai Baoshan's voice carried a hint of puzzlement. Shuoye frowned. That was problematic. He didn't care much about the others, but he wanted Xiao Ze on their side. Xiao Ze's strength dwarfed everyone else's. Besides, the ties between Ning Rongrong and the others with Xiao Ze made him even more valuable. If they could win Xiao Ze over, the rest wouldn't be a problem. Yet Xiao Ze only attended the academy without taking any resources. How could they bond him to the empire? Even moral pressure wouldn't work if he didn't owe them anything. Can we find a way to send resources directly to Xiao Ze? Shuoye asked. Meng Shenji, Bai Baoshan, and Ji Lin all understood the implication, but none wanted to force the issue. They were optimistic about Xiao Ze and didn't want the relationship between him and the Heaven Do Empire to sour. Moreover, they didn't want to push him. Your Majesty, this is difficult. You know the Yi family and the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile School have plenty of funds, Jilin said carefully. Shuoye waved them off. I understand. You may leave. Very well. The 3 bowed and departed. Shuoye remained alone on the imperial throne, coughing lightly. I hope nothing untoward happens, he muttered to himself. He couldn't think of a way to make Xiao Ze indebted to the empire. Xiao Ze didn't lack resources and didn't need favors. It was a troubling problem. Outside the hall, Meng Shenji let out a long breath. That was tense. Jilin chuckled. Not tense, but I've always felt Xiao Ze has his own plans. Who doesn't like resources? The fact he hasn't taken any since entering the academy suggests he might not intend to stay here. Maybe he wants to go to Star Luo Empire? Bai Baoshan suggested. Probably not. He's from Heaven Do Empire and hasn't been to Star Luo, Meng Shenji said. Spirit Hall? Hard to say, Jilin answered. Anyway, I think things between Xiao Ze and the Empire won't stay as they are. Don't worry about it for now. It's not our business, Meng Shenji said, forcing a smile. Let's go rest. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer escorted Xiao Ze and the others to Tianshui City. Situated in the northern reaches of the Heaven Do Empire, the city was crafted among mountains and rivers in a palette of blue and white. From afar, it looked like an ice-blue jewel embedded in the empire's crown. A lake at the city's center never froze. Its waters were crystal clear, mirroring the sky above. At the heart of the city stood Tianshui Academy, its gate carved from towering ice crystals that shimmered with a dreamy blue in the sun. Above the lintel were 4 characters spelling Tianshui Academy. Legend said they were carved personally by the first dean with spirit power and had remained unchanged for centuries. Brother Xiao Ze, what do you think of Tianshui Academy? Isn't it beautiful? Shui Yuer asked, smiling as she linked her arm with his. It's stunning, Xiao Ze admitted. I almost felt like I'd stepped right into the northern ice field. No, the northern ice field is mostly white, Shui Binger corrected with a grin. Tianshui is more aquamarine. They led the group further into the academy. Inside, every figure they passed, from the dean and the instructors down to the students, was female. The students wore aquamarine uniforms embroidered with wave motifs. Silver sashes looped around their waists, flowing like water whenever they moved. Long, fair legs and youthful beauty were on display everywhere. Xiao Ze couldn't help but think he might enjoy living here, surrounded by such beauty, though he worried about his saint body in an environment like this. The instructors wore moon-white robes and ice crystal pendants on their cuffs. They were accomplished female spirit masters. On the Douluo Continent, female spirit masters were typically a bit weaker and fewer in the top ranks than males, something Xiao Ze didn't fully understand. Spirit power and spirit cores shouldn't be determined by gender, after all. Brother Xiao Ze, our academy is divided into 3 main areas: the teaching area, the cultivation area, and the living quarters, Shui Binger explained as they walked. Students passing by glanced over. Everyone knew the Shui sisters, and seeing them escorting a man naturally drew attention. As the sun dipped, the bell tower's clear, icy chime signaled the end of cultivation. Gradually, more students gathered to watch, whispering and curious. "Don't crowd around here." Shuyuer stamped her foot, trying to keep the curious onlookers at bay. Chapter 222, Shui Yao's Consent. Shuyuer, cheeks flushed, shoved at the nearest students. Move aside, move aside." Her actions only drew more teasing. "Oh, is this still our Yuer? Since when did she get so shy?" A senior girl with a high ponytail leaned against the railing and conjured a crystalline ice flower on her fingertip, flicking it toward Shuyuer. Shuyuer caught it. "Senior sister, Binger actually brought a boy back? How rare. Maybe it'll snow today." Others chimed in. A middle-aged female instructor grinned and mocked. If the dean knew her precious nieces had gone completely soft for a boy, she'd be furious. Shui Binger's usually composed expression collapsed. She bowed her head, ears flushing a deep red, and the blush spread across her face. She clenched her sleeve, ice-blue eyes glistening, and defended softly, "We were only having a normal academic exchange." The more she protested, the louder the teasing became. A few bold students even traced a double happiness symbol in the air. Everyone erupted in laughter. Xiao Ze felt awkward. The girls' stares were too blatant, like they couldn't wait to devour him. It made him a little uneasy. Ning Rongrong and the others watched from the side, enjoying it. Tianshui Academy's atmosphere felt much livelier than Heaven Do Royal Academy's. "If you laugh again, I'll tell all your embarrassing stories." Shuyuer climbed onto a raised spot, face red, and threatened. "Senior sister Lin, you secretly eat snacks at midnight and gained 3 caddies in a month. And teacher Su, you collect romance novels." The crowd fell silent for a moment, then burst into even louder laughter. "She's furious from embarrassment." "Yeah, but it's hilarious that teacher Su likes romance novels." "Ha ha ha, lower your voice if she hears you, you're done for." The commotion attracted Dean Shui Yao. After learning what was happening, she looked a little exasperated. Her nieces had actually brought a boy straight into the academy. Ahem. Shui Yao walked to the center. "Dean." "Hello, Dean." "All right, disperse." Seeing her 2 nieces wishing they could crawl into a hole, Shui Yao smiled wryly. At her command, the crowd scattered. "Aunt," Shui Binger and Shui Yuer approached her slowly. "This isn't the place to talk. Let's go." Shui Yao glanced at Xiao Ze and then turned away. Okay. They followed Shui Yao to her office. It was simple and tidy, with a few cute dolls on display. These are what Binger and Yuer played with when they were little. She handed Xiao Ze a cup of tea. "Girls tend to like these when they're young," Xiao Ze said with a smile. Seated, Shui Yao fixed him with a steady look. "Your nieces bringing you back means they've chosen you. Can you take care of them for a lifetime?" "Aunt," Shui Yuer began, but Shui Yao raised a hand to stop her. Xiao Ze lifted his head slowly. "Binger and Yuer are both very dear to me. Binger seems cool, but is actually a very sweet girl, a bit shy. Yuer is lively through and through. I like them both a great deal. After these past few days together, I believe I can take good care of them and help them grow stronger." Shui Yao blinked. Xiao Ze had seen Binger's true side. Your strength and talent are considerable, which puts my mind at ease. But she looked at Ning Rongrong and the others, who suddenly felt this had been a mistake. I admit I have several women and can't treat everyone exactly the same. Rongrong was the first to follow me, and she's someone I love, so I'll naturally be more lenient with her. But I can promise you this. Whatever Rongrong has, Binger and Yuer will certainly have. Xiao Ze spoke solemnly. Ning Rongrong sipped her tea with a pleased smile. She took that for what it was, a declaration of the main position. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer weren't upset. They already understood what he meant. You're quite honest, Shui Yao said, surprised. She had expected some diplomatic assurance about equal love. Love can't be faked. Given time, it reveals itself. It's painful for two people who don't love each other to stay together. Xiao Ze smiled. I hope you'll allow that to happen. Hearing this, Shui Binger and Shui Yuer realized their aunt's consent and brightened instantly. Thank you, Aunt. Oh, you two, what am I going to say? You just gave yourselves away in a few days. Shui Yao sounded helpless. Aunt, this was love at first sight for us. Shui Yuer protested. If Binger says love at first sight, I might believe her, but you. Shui Yao shook her head. It must be lust at first sight. Aunt, Shui Yuer called shyly, and Ning Rongrong and the others burst out laughing. They hadn't expected Dean Shui to size Yuer up so accurately. Dean Shui, I have something for you, Xiao Ze said. Ning Rongrong and the others looked at him, already guessing what he meant. What is it? These are agricultural products cultivated by my spirit. Each has a different effect. I hope you'll use them yourself and keep them private. They work very well. With them, Dean Shui could quickly reach the titled Douluo realm. What? Shui Yao was taken aback. Aunt, it's true. We've all used them. They can enhance the body and spirit power cultivation. Shui Binger nodded emphatically, which convinced Shui Yao. She still found it hard to understand such things existed in their world, and the spirit that produced them sounded terrifying. No wonder Xiao Ze and the others had such strength at a young age. These must be why. I've written down what each item is and what it does. Xiao Ze produced an exquisite blue and gold spirit tool from his arms and handed it to Shui Yao. She reached out. Xiao Ze's fingertips brushed hers accidentally. In that instant, both froze. Shui Yao's hand was cool as jade, unexpectedly soft and delicate, like the purest snow on a mountaintop, but without the moist warmth of Binger's and Yuer's hands. Chapter 223, Huliena's Shock. Xiao Ze quickly withdrew his hand. He hadn't expected things to go that way. Shui Yao's reaction, however, was even stranger. She froze. Having had no physical contact with a man for over 30 years, the brief touch sent a faint electric current from her fingertips through her meridians and straight to her heart. A shy, girlish flush crept across her cheeks. She subtly pulled her hand back, and to cover her embarrassment, she bent over the spirit tool and pretended to inspect its contents. Inside were all kinds of grains, wheat, rice, an enormous amount, more than enough for her alone to eat for at least half a year. I'll take these. If I need more later, I can always buy them, Shui Yao said. Of course, purchasing is no problem, Xiao Ze replied. They exchanged glances. For some reason, her heart was racing, and she avoided looking at him. Aunt, Shui Yuer called. Ah! Shui Yao startled. Shui Yuer blinked at Shui Yao's reaction. I only wanted to remind you not to tell anyone or let anyone else see them. If others find out, Xiao Ze might be in danger. I know. You know I cook for myself, Shui Yao nodded. Xiao Ze was surprised. He hadn't expected a dean to cook her own meals. That's good then. After a short chat, Xiao Ze and the others took their leave. They planned to visit Tianshui Academy. Once the door closed, Shui Yao finally exhaled. Her fingertips brushed the spot Xiao Ze had touched. The spirit tool lay quietly on the table, still warm from his palm. What was that strange feeling? She wondered. Outside, the last ray of sunset slipped across her glimmering eyes. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer walked on either side of Xiao Ze, leading him down an ice crystal corridor at Tianshui Academy. In daylight, the corridor cast a 7-colored halo and sometimes even painted rainbows across clothing, but with the sun gone, that effect had vanished. This is the Mirror Lake corridor, Shui Binger said, her voice clear and cool as she lightly brushed each pillar. Every ice pillar here was made by generations of Tianshui students. It took decades to build, and every year we use spirit power to reinforce them so they don't melt. Shuier skipped ahead and pushed open a heavy door. A rush of cold air poured out. This is our mimicry cultivation ground. Both water-type and ice-type spirit masters cultivate here. Xiao Ze stepped into a vast semicircular dome of transparent crystal that looked like an enormous ice egg. At its center sat a 100-meter-wide ice soul cold pool. A thin mist of frost hovered over the water. Water-type practitioners trained around the pool's edge, while ice-type cultivators went deeper inside. Tianshui Academy's mimicry ground was simple but highly effective, refined over a century, far superior to the one Ningrongrong and the others had prepared for him. "Brother Xiao Ze, would you like to stay at our academy tonight?" Shuyuer asked. "Don't be silly. My aunt would tear me apart," Xiao Ze chuckled. "That's true. Men have come into Tianshui Academy, but no man has ever stayed overnight." Shuyuer stuck out her small pink tongue. "You're trying to trick me." "No way," she added, shaking her head. "All right, we should get back. If you ever have time to cultivate, come to me. It'll speed things up. Bring Huowu too." "Okay." A few days later, at Spirit Hall, Bibi Dong tilted the information in her hands with a smile. Spirit fusion skill, or a combination skill. Interesting. She looked up at Guimei and Yueguan. "Guimei, Yueguan, do you think Hu Yanzhen's report is accurate? That Xiao Ze's summoned beasts can use a combined skill similar to a spirit fusion?" Yueguan, who knew exactly what a spirit fusion skill entailed, frowned thoughtfully. "Your Holiness, a true spirit fusion skill usually only appears between very close friends or blood relatives. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible. But since these are summoned beasts bound to Xiao Ze, it might be possible." Bibi Dong nodded. "You're right. This means Wuhan Academy might not necessarily win this time. Xiao Ze's combination skill could even threaten spirit emperors and spirit saints. Even Nana and Sheiyue's spirit fusion might not be enough. Your Holiness, should we still add those 3 spirit bones this time?" Yueguan asked. Bibi Dong had prepared 3 10,000-year spirit bones, intending them for Hu Liana and her 2 companions. She was silent briefly, then said, "Add them." "Your Holiness, but—" Bibi Dong raised a hand, signaling Guimei to be quiet. "I investigated. Xiao Ze has not benefited from the Heaven Do Empire's resources, so he might not join them." "Your Holiness, could it be—" "Exactly. Yueguan, I'll leave this to you. You know him. When he comes to Spirit Hall, recruit him. If that fails, bring him to Spirit Hall, even if you have to detain him." "Understood. You may withdraw." Guimei and Yueguan left the Supreme Pontiff Palace. Bibi Dong smiled wryly. "Nana, you've finally met someone who might be your match. That's not necessarily a bad thing." After leaving, Yueguan didn't walk with Guimei. He went to find Huliena. "Grandpa Ju, are you looking for me?" Huliena asked. Nana, do you remember that child we met in the Stardew Great Forest a few years ago?" Yueguan asked. Huliena frowned. "Stardew Great Forest?" After a moment, she raised an eyebrow. "Is he that dark-haired child? I remember he wanted to enter the Soul Master competition." "You'll see him in the finals soon," Yueguan said. "Ah?" Huliena was astonished. That child from back then had really made it this far. "I'm surprised, too. That little boy has become extraordinary. Even His Holiness wants to recruit him to Spirit Hall." Chapter 224, Soul King Xiao Ze, the Promotion of the Women. Huliena immediately looped her arm through Yueguan's, tugging at him and whining playfully. "Grandpa Ju, tell me, what's really going on?" Yueguan shook his head. "I can't say yet. You'll know when the time comes. For now, Xiao Ze is at Heaven Do Royal Academy, and he's the strongest among our students. You all need to work hard." He didn't reveal Xiao Ze's true power. The competition hadn't even begun, so anything could still change. Of course, if Hu Yanzhen's claim wasn't a lie, Nana and the others had less than a 10% chance of winning. Huliena watched Yueguan's retreating figure, her mind racing. That dark-skinned kid from before had actually made it to the finals? Unexpected. He was already getting a 2nd spirit ring at that age. His talent had always been good, if not top tier. Strange. "Nana, what are you muttering about?" Xie and Yan approached slowly. "Nothing, big brother. Let's go cultivate." Huliena wasn't foolish. Grandpa Ju's suggestion that she cultivate felt pointed. Could Xiao Ze be stronger than her? No, she was on the verge of becoming a spirit king. He couldn't possibly be stronger. He was much younger. Still, a flicker of worry nudged at her. All right. Xiao looked baffled. He had never seen his sister this eager before. Nana, I'll come with you, Yan offered immediately. Juliana ignored him and walked off. Yan trotted after. Xiao could only watch helplessly. He felt that Yan and Nana's future together was unlikely, and if it did happen, it would be a hard one. Time flew. By now, Xiao Ze was 14. His spirit power had reached level 54, 4 of those levels granted by absorbing the Ice Dragon King's spirit ring. His spirit rings and spirit bones were steadily aging and improving. His 5th spirit ability, Symbiotic Contract, proved an excellent life-saving skill. It could spend spirit power to transfer damage he received to an agricultural sprite, or link all his agricultural sprites so they shared damage evenly. He hadn't had anything like it among his other sprites, so it arrived at the perfect moment. Over the year, all of Xiao Ze's immortal herbs had been consumed, producing 6 new sprites, each epic grade. Such a yield would be hard to match in the future. The quality of his other sprites was slowly improving, though at a crawl. At this rate, it would take another 3 to 4 years for most to reach legendary grade. The Icefire Dragon King's remaining energy could speed things up for a while, enough to raise 19 of his sprites to legendary, but the rest would still need patient cultivation. Mythical grade felt far off. Xiao Ze decided to pause creating new sprites. As a Spirit King, he could have up to 25, but managing 20 was already taxing. He'd wait until his existing sprites were all legendary before expanding. No rush. He had time. Everyone else's spirit power had grown rapidly too, and several spirits had evolved. Yi Lingling's spirit, the Samsara Begonia, maxed out its healing to the point it could even revive someone who had been dead for less than 5 minutes, though the cost was high. Her spirit could truly be called the world's top healing spirit. Resurrection alone made that clear, and her general healing had only improved. Duguyan's spirit evolved into the heavenly poison dragon emperor, a simple yet ultimate form of poison. Xiao Ze had tested it and found it hard to block. It forced his sprites into constant healing and purification. Even a titled Douluo like Dugubo could be poisoned by Duguyan, showing just how fearsome it was. Duguyan and Ye Lingling were now the only two besides Xiao Ze to reach Spirit King level. Shui Binger's spirit had advanced from Ice Phoenix to Ice Crystal Phoenix, gaining the ultimate ice attribute and becoming devastating in both offense and control. Her single-target control rivaled Duguyan's. Shui Yuer's spirit, the Spirit Stream Dolphin, wasn't as high quality as the others, but still offered a solid boost. Huowu's spirit had evolved from Fire Shadow to Fire Spirit. While not yet equal to Shui Di's Ice Sky Snow Maiden, it was born and nurtured like her, and Xiao Ze believed it would one day match or even surpass the Ice Sky Snow Maiden. Ning Rongrong, of course, had the 9-treasure glazed tile pagoda. When it evolved, she entertained the idea of returning to inherit her sect and giving it to Xiao Ze. He had to persuade her against it. He even kissed her to convince her to stay. The pagoda was vital to the 7-treasure glazed tile school. As for Ning Fengji and the 8-treasure pagoda, Xiao Ze had added some high-quality agricultural products into the mix, so the next evolution should arrive soon. Meng Yiran and Juju King's spirits evolved into Medusa's Gaze and Shadow Monarch, both extremely powerful. Not quite divine grade, but close to Seraphim levels, and certainly stronger than the Clear Sky Hammer. Among the girls, the weakest were Shui Yuer and Ju King at levels 42 and 43 respectively. Everyone else was at least level 45 or higher. And of course, Xiao Ze's agricultural products had contributed massively. 1 year's development, MVP, agricultural products. Xiao Ze, I feel like it's about to recover, Ye Lingling said excitedly. Really? Let me see. Xiao Ze took the Life Tribulation Twin Lotus from her, Ye Lingling's demigod artifact. If it recovered, her combat and healing abilities would increase significantly. The others gathered around as well. Shui Binger and the others had seen Ye Lingling's artifact many times. It always looked half dormant. Now it was beginning to glow green. Xiao Ze's gaze fixed on the jade green hairpin. 2 begonia blossoms on it began to move as if stirred by wind, then burst into dazzling light like flowers in full bloom. God of Agriculture, has it recovered? Xiao Ze asked quickly. Yes, it has indeed recovered, Ye Lingling breathed. It took so long, but it finally healed. It seems its injuries were much lighter than my divine artifacts. Xiao Ze's mouth twitched. Indeed, hers had been a demigod artifact to begin with, while his had been obtained straight as a demigod artifact. Chapter 225, The Powerful Yilingling. Tsk, a demi-artifact. We've never even seen a demi-artifact like this, the Fire Dragon King said. Does your dragon clan use artifacts? Xiao Ze asked. Of course not. Our bodies are the finest artifacts. Even the weakest among us has a body at artifact level, so we don't need external artifacts, the Fire Dragon King replied with pride. That is impressive, Xiao Ze nodded. He wondered if his own body could someday be elevated to artifact level. It seemed possible with time. As the light around the hairpin brightened, he felt a familiar, invisible power, something like the divine force he'd sensed from the god of agriculture and the Ice Fire Dragon King. It seemed the hairpin's divine force had indeed recovered. After a while, the jade hairpin settled back into the form of an ordinary hairpin and lay on the table. Everyone exchanged glances and urged Ye Lingling to try it on. She picked it up and murmured, Life Calamity Twin Lotus, huh? With a gentle flick of her hand, the black and white begonia blossoms transformed into 2 wheels of light behind her, one white, one black. 2 light wheels? What do they do? Ningrongrong asked. Ye Lingling smiled. The white wheel amplifies my healing and expands the range of my spirit healing. My healing is already area effect, but limited. With the white wheel, I can heal anyone within a 1-kilometer radius centered on me. Hiss! Everyone inhaled sharply. That range is enormous, Duguyan exclaimed. It's even farther than our offensive spirit abilities. Wow! Sister Lingling, you're invincible now. On the battlefield, if the enemies don't target you, they probably couldn't even kill 1 person. Shu Yuer gaped. Xiao Ze hadn't expected Ye Lingling's healing range to be so vast. It was almost absurd. With such long-range healing, she could simply stand in the rear and keep everyone alive without being seen. People would be baffled to find wounds mending around them with no visible healer. And what about the black wheel? Someone asked. The black wheel looked ominous. Ye Lingling's expression changed. It converts my healing into damage at the same ratio. What? Shuyer blurted. Shui Binger tapped her on the head. Sister, no bad language. This is insane. You have to remember, Sister Lingling's healing is abnormal. At Spirit King level, she can even heal a Spirit Saint and mend most Spirit Douluo, if that healing becomes damage. Shuiyuer said seriously. Everyone's faces went hard. Please take care of me, Sister Lingling, someone murmured. It's over. Now Sister Lingling might be stronger than Xiao Ze, another said. Ye Lingling laughed at their astonishment. Who knows? Want to try it? They all looked at Xiao Ze. All right, let's test it. They moved to an open area. Xiao Ze summoned Dizun, whose defense was currently the strongest. Dizun closed its shell into an absolute defense state, reducing incoming damage by 80%. Dizun, don't reflect damage, Xiao Ze warned. If Ye Lingling's strike backfired from reflection, she would be badly hurt. Douluo and Ningrongrong then boosted Dizun's defenses even further. Ye Lingling lifted her delicate hand. Petals moved, though there was no wind, and the black wheel spun slowly before her. A pitch-black begonia petal shot forward through the wheel and struck Dizun. Where healing would normally soothe, this attack erupted with terrifying destructive force. Stone shattered, and Dizun was blasted out from the ground. Everyone flinched. Xiao Ze hurried to inspect. Dizun's wounds weren't deep, but the force had nearly triggered its absolute defense. Remember, this was with an 80% damage reduction. Without that reduction, Dizun would have suffered severe injuries. Lingling, your power is astonishing, Xiao Ze said. With Dizun's Spirit King level defense, an attack lacking Spirit Saint strength shouldn't have done this. Ye Lingling waved it off. It's fine. Fine? Then the rest of us are useless, Ningrongrong complained. This is too powerful. From now on, Lingling will be our top attacker. Ye Lingling beamed, pleased to finally have offensive capability. I can use both wheels together. At that, everyone's mouths twitched. This is a bit too much. Terrifying offense and ridiculous range. This is abnormal. Yes, Sister Lingling, you're the high-damage turret Xiao Ze warned us about. It's just that she's a bit vulnerable and slow, Xiao Ze said soberly. Lingling, be careful. If an opponent can reflect damage, don't attack. You're fragile. If Dizun had reflected even a portion of that blow, you could have been severely injured. Yi Lingling nodded seriously. I understand. I'll focus on healing. I'll only attack if someone gets close or it's necessary. That's wise. Also hide this ability where you can. A demi-artifact is extremely valuable. Others might try to steal it. It usually looks like an ordinary hairpin, Ye Lingling said. Understood. After seeing Ye Lingling's power, everyone settled onto the sofas to rest. Xiao Ze, your apprentice's demi-artifact really suits her, the god of agriculture said with a smile. It's perfect for sniping too, the Fire Dragon King agreed. With those tiny petals, long-range attacks would be simple. It is powerful, but she can't use it often. Her spirit energy consumption is severe, Xiao Ze observed. That's true. We'll see if she can find something to reduce consumption. Her ability is enough to inherit a god position. Letting her follow you to forge her own god position is also feasible, the god of agriculture added. Xiao Ze considered it and agreed internally. This demi-artifact could indeed help Ye Lingling carve out a remarkable path. The Soul Master competition is about to begin. Shall we go to Qingxi village as you suggested? Ning Rongrong asked. Xiao Ze was quiet for a moment, then nodded. Yes, it's time to go back. It's been many years. Chapter 2 and 26, Return to Qingxi village. Let's leave tomorrow, Ning Rongrong said, eager to meet Xiao Ze's childhood elders, especially Grandpa Xiao, whom he mentioned so often. All right, Xiao Ze replied with a warm smile, ruffling her hair. Ning Rongrong snuggled into his arms. You're bringing so many beautiful girls home. Won't your elders be surprised? Ha ha ha, maybe, but they'll like all of you, Xiao Ze said. Of course they will. We're pretty and well-behaved, Duguyan declared, leaning into Xiao Ze as her head touched Ning Rongrong's. Xiao Ze held them both, breathing in their scent and feeling relaxed. He had cultivated diligently for a year. It was time to rest. The next morning, a light mist wrapped Heavendu Royal Academy like a veil. The golden sun had just risen. A luxurious carriage, drawn by 4 snow-white steeds, stood quietly at the academy gates. Any discerning eye would notice these horses were spirit beasts, century-old spirit beasts. Xiao Ze stepped out in a moon-white outfit. The morning breeze moved his hair and brought a cool freshness. He looked back, a gentle smile unconsciously appearing on his lips. Ning Rongrong bounded out like a cheerful bird, her long hair tied in a neat ponytail, the liuli hair ornament jingling. She still held half of an unfinished pastry. You actually brought my carriage from the sect, Ning Rongrong said, recognizing it, and went to play with the horses. The white beasts, familiar with her scent, rubbed their heads against her. Zhuju King and Ye Lingling strolled over slowly. Today, Zhuju King wore a form-fitting dark purple dress that accentuated her figure and made her even more striking. They're here, they're here. Huo Wu rushed out, her fiery ponytail flying behind her. After a year, she remained as impulsive as ever, taking big strides and jumping straight into the carriage. Huo Wu, what's the rush? Shui Yuer said, arriving gracefully, arm in arm with Shui Binger. Du Guyan was the last to appear, lounging and yawning. You all are so energetic. It's only because Yan Yanji stayed up late last night, Ning Rongrong complained. I couldn't help it. I was refining some poisons, Du Guyan said, swaying. Enough talk, let's go. Ning Rongrong, hugging Du Guyan, climbed into the carriage. The interior was lavish, with a small bed inside. They couldn't all lie down, but they could sit together comfortably. Rongrong, can you drive a carriage? Xiao Ze asked. No, she admitted. Then how do we leave? Haha, no need. These 4 white horses are specially trained. Just give them a direction and they'll go. We only need to watch them and make adjustments, Ning Rongrong explained. That's amazing. Of course, these are 100-year spirit beasts, specially trained and very intelligent. They're gentle too. Ning Rongrong patted one of them on the flank. Depart. The carriage moved off slowly, the wheels rolling pleasantly over the stones. As it pulled away, the academy bell rang leisurely from the spire. Rongrong, your carriage is very stable, someone observed. Of course, this carriage is valuable. Not counting the horses, just the compartment's worth is tens of thousands of gold coins, Ning Rongrong said, proud. You really know how to enjoy yourself, Ye Lingling said. Her family was rich, but they didn't have such an expensive carriage. If you have money, you should enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point? Ning Rongrong shrugged. Xiao Ze, give me a massage, Consider it payment for the carriage, she added, sliding her arm out. Xiao Ze chuckled and took her wrist. Tired? He asked softly, fingers kneading her arm with the right amount of pressure. Ningrongrong smiled. No, I just wanted you to do it. He didn't protest. If she wanted a massage, he would give one. If he didn't pamper his woman, who would? She enjoyed it at first, laughing, but as his hand slid down her arm, over the soft elbow and along her thigh, her cheeks flushed. What are you doing? She stammered, eyes glistening. Xiao Ze seemed unbothered. His palm pressed against her inner thigh, knuckles easing the tension in her muscles. Ningrongrong bit her lip, toes tensing. His hand moved up to her flat belly, fingers massaging gently. Rongrong, your belly looks a little bigger. Nonsense, she whispered, melting into his embrace and burying her face in his shoulder. Xiao Ze laughed, warm breath at her ear. Are you uncomfortable? She gave him a faint punch. You big bully, she mumbled. Huowu rolled her eyes, Shuyer covered her mouth to stifle a laugh, and Du Guyan propped her chin on her hand, teasing. Little Rongrong, can't handle it already? Ningrongrong didn't argue. Xiao Ze's touch was like a charm. No matter how often, she still couldn't resist. She'd thought it was just her, but the others also reacted the same way. That made her realize it wasn't her problem. It was Xiao Ze's technique. He was skilled, and the massage truly felt good. Everyone knew his tendency to take liberties and tacitly allowed it. After all, massages cost money. A little indulgence from Xiao Ze was acceptable. They traveled unhurriedly, exploring a route most of them hadn't seen. A few days later, the carriage slowed and stopped at the entrance to Qingxi village, its wheels grinding over the gravel until they stilled. Xiao Ze stepped down and was greeted by the familiar scent of grass and wood. The old pagoda tree at the village entrance was still lush and green. Everything was so familiar that he paused, stunned for a moment. In the distance, wooden houses were scattered about, thin plumes of cooking smoke drifting from chimneys. A nearby stream gurgled, its water clear and crisp. Chapter 227, Daily Life in Qingxi Village. Xiao Ze stood on the stone steps at the entrance to the village and stared for a long moment. For an instant, he seemed to see his younger self, catching fish with the other children in the stream, running through the fields, listening to the elders tell stories beneath the locust tree. Xiao Ze. Ningrongrong hopped down from the carriage and peered around at the simple settlement with bright curiosity. Is this where you grew up? A smile came to Xiao Ze's face as if by reflex. Yes, this is Qingxi village, where I grew up. Huowu glanced around and frowned a little. It all looks so ordinary. Ordinary, yes, Xiao Ze said, but it's a good life. Qingxi village isn't poor. Others nearby might barely be able to afford meat, but our people manage. Ningrongrong's eyes lit up. Should we expand the village? She asked earnestly. She wanted to help. Xiao Ze shook his head slowly. No, they have their own lives. We can lend a hand for a time, but we shouldn't shape their lives forever. Better to use elixirs to strengthen their bodies. No need to hand out money. All right. Ningrongrong accepted that. Shuayuer, full of energy, grabbed her sister's hand. Look at that stream. The water is so clear. Juqing breathed in the village calm. Duguyan stood off to one side and nodded. It's quiet. It feels right. Come on, let me show you where I lived when I was little. Xiao Ze led the group into the village. A few children were playing nearby, too young for him to recognize. They'd been born after he left. A bold child ran up. Big brother, big sister, who are you? Why are you here? Xiao Ze crouched and ruffled the boy's hair. I'm from this village too. Really? I've never seen you before. The boy's eyes widened. Xiao Bao, someone called out. A woman, an older villager, suddenly noticed Ningrongrong and the others and went pale inside with worry. If such distinguished visitors were offended by anyone from the village, that would be a problem. Then she looked up and froze. Xiao Ze, she cried. Wang Dama blinked until she recognized him. Xiao Ze, the boy. You've changed so much. You used to be so dark. Now you're fair. Ningrongrong chuckled. I remember him like that. Xiao Ze scratched his ear, embarrassed. That's from my training. It lightened my skin. Fair is good, very good, and these are. Wang Dama peered cautiously at the women beside him. They're my wives, Xiao Ze answered, grinning. At that, the women around him brightened immediately. Ningrongrong's smile stretched across her face. All of them? Someone gasped. All of them, Xiao Ze nodded. Everyone. Come out. Xiao Ze's back, and he brought wives. Wang Dama shouted. Her voice carried, and in no time the whole village swarmed into the square, crowding around the newcomers. By the heavens! Xiao Ze, you've changed so much, I almost didn't recognize you. Look at him. Handsome now. He's done well, gotten himself a fine family. Those wives must be from important families. Just look at them. With bodies like that, they'll have chubby boys for sure. Xiao Ze scanned the crowd. He knew many faces. Others were newly married into the village. He stepped forward and bowed to the village chief. Village chief, I'm treating everyone to lunch today. The village chief, white-haired but still lively, looked surprised. So many people. Won't that cost a lot? Ningrongrong hurried to reassure him, leaning forward. Don't worry. Xiao Ze is well off now, she added with a smile, and I can help him. The village chief slapped his knee in delight. Xiao Ze's very lucky to have such a wife. Xiao Ze squeezed Ningrongrong's hand. I'm the lucky one, he said. All right, lunch in the square then? The chief declared. Dozens of long tables had already been set up in neat rows in the village square, piled with dishes. The aroma drifted through the crowd, and the children pressed close, mouths watering. Xiao Ze and his companions sat with the village chief and a few familiar neighbors. This is livelier than our new year, the chief said, smiling so broadly his beard trembled. Village chief, you should know, Xiao Ze lives in Heaven Do City now. It's the capital of the Heaven Do Empire, Shu Yuer said between mouthfuls of braised pork hock. He's known as the most talented spirit master there. The chief's eyes widened. Heaven Do City was the best city in the empire. To be the most talented there was no small thing. Is that true? He asked. Xiao Ze nodded. Soon, I'll be competing in the All-Continent Soul Master competition. The chief beamed. That will bring honor to Qingxi Village. Maybe one day we'll have to change the village name. No need, Xiao Ze said with a laugh. I still like the name Qingxi Village. Then eat up. Taste the food you grew up with. The villagers feasted and chatted. Ningrongrong sampled the homemade fruit wine, and although it made her tongue tingle, she kept taking another sip. Huo Wu found herself surrounded by admiring aunties and blushed like a girl. Shuier learned to weave flower wreaths with the village girls, while Shui Binger observed quietly, a small smile tugging at her lips. She clearly liked this peaceful life. Xiao Ze watched the content faces around him and felt a warm satisfaction. While the dishes were being prepared, he had slipped a few elixirs into some of the food, subtle, healing ingredients that would keep them healthy for years. The elixirs could even increase the chances that the children here might one day awaken spirit power and become spirit masters. If that happened, Qingxi Village could slowly prosper. Not that everyone here needed growth. Many were content with a simple life. After a few rounds of drink, someone started tapping their bowl with chopsticks and a song rose up. Laughter and music filled the square. Xiao Ze stood in the middle of it all, looking at the villagers who had watched him grow. Their simple joy eased his chest like a balm. For a fleeting moment, he longed to settle down somewhere just like this. But he knew, as he looked out toward the mountains and the road that would take him back to Heaven Do City, that such a simple life could not be his forever. Chapter 228. If you are tired, come back and rest. This will always be your home. After lunch, many of the villagers were drunk, and their wives hurriedly shepherded them back to their homes. Xiao Ze led the women along the winding stream toward its source. This is it. When I was 6, after my spirit awakened, I cultivated here, Xiao Ze said, spreading his arms as if embracing the whole valley. Brother Xiao Ze, is this a good place to cultivate? Shui Yuer asked. She'd had a simulated training ground since birth, as had everyone except Xiao Ze, so she had no idea what cultivation anywhere else felt like. How should I put it? You know, my cultivation method is a bit unusual. As long as there's natural energy, speed of progress is pretty good, Xiao Ze said, pointing to a particular spot. I remember when I cultivated here, all the grass in this patch withered, and those big trees did too. But now they've all grown back. Brother Xiao Ze, you were so lucky to find such a good method, Shu Yuer said. Ha ha ha, I think so too. I was playing outside and fell into a cave. That's where I found the method and the spatial spirit artifact, Xiao Ze lied casually. The pond glittered in the sun. Ningrongrong crouched at the water's edge, her fingertips skimming the surface. Xiao Ze, it really shows how hard you work to cultivate successfully. Xiao Ze shook his head. My innate spirit power was only level 2. If it weren't for my powerful spirit, I'd probably still be struggling at some small academy. Maybe I'd have graduated, married, had kids, and not thought much beyond that. Your spirit is a kind of talent too. Don't belittle yourself, Shuju King said, squeezing his hand. A gentle breeze stirred the leaves. Xiao Ze looked around at the place that felt both familiar and strangely distant. I'm afraid I won't be coming back here again, he admitted. Du Guyan looped her arm through his. Why wouldn't you come home? Whenever you want to return, we'll all come with you. Besides, the people you know here aren't gone. Yes, I still really like it here. The air and the environment are wonderful. We could build a villa on that mountain and live there, Huo Wu said enthusiastically. All right, since you all like it, we'll come back in the future, Xiao Ze smiled. He had been away a long time. Even the deepest emotions have a way of settling into quiet acceptance. Whether he returned often or not, it wouldn't change much, but since they wanted to, they would come. Xiao Ze's main plan was simple. Spoil them. Spoil them rotten. Night fell. Qingxi village settled into a hushed calm. Moonlight wove silver over the scattered houses. The stream sounded clear and steady in the dark. Xiao Ze led the women to his old home. Though he hadn't been back in ages, the house was neat. He knew the villagers would tidy it for him sometimes, and that warmed him. My beloved consorts, how do you plan to sleep tonight? Xiao Ze asked with a grin. Beloved consorts? Do you think you're the emperor? Ning Rongrong teased. Of course not. You're the Empress Dowager, Xiao Ze said, pulling her close and planting a kiss on her cheek. I think your skin's getting thicker, Xiao Ze, Du Guyan chuckled. You all made it that way. Xiao Ze blamed them. I used to be pure and innocent, and you all kept clinging to me and changing me. Xiao Ze, take this rocket headbutt. Huo Wu charged and sent Xiao Ze sprawling onto the bed, then straddled his waist. Brother Xiao Ze, are you saying it's still our fault? The others swarmed in, pinning his arms and legs. Wait, you all? Xiao Ze tried to struggle, but Shui Yuer settled entirely on top of him, and he froze. Brother Xiao Ze, I'm the one who most wants to mold you into my image, she said softly. Xiao Ze swallowed. Why did Yuer sound a little fierce? He hadn't done anything. He lay pinned, smelling the mixed fragrances of the young women, and could only surrender to the warm, tender embraces for a while. Everyone crowded onto the long bed. The night was mild. With Yuer and Binger nearby, it wasn't uncomfortably hot, and fortunately, Xiao Ze's bed was wide enough for them all to lie sideways. Shui Yuer curled into Xiao Ze's arms, smiling contentedly. Oh, Yuer, that's too much, Huo Wu complained from behind him, a little miffed that she wasn't in his arms. Humph. When sleeping, you're fire attributed, and I'm water attributed. It's more comfortable to hug me. Darn it, Huo Wu grumbled. They lay there in comfortable quiet until sleep took them one by one. They spent 3 leisurely days in Qingxi village. At dawn on the 3rd day, Xiao Ze looked at the pale sky and said, It's time to leave. We're headed to Nuoding City. All right, the group answered. As they stepped out, they ran into the village chief, already up and about. The elderly in the countryside tend to rise early. Son of the Xiao family, leaving already? The village chief asked with a touch of reluctance. Xiao Ze's companions were no ordinary women. Even among spirit masters, their presence and bearing were remarkable. The chief had seen many people in the nearby cities, and none had quite that temperament. Village chief, we're going to Nuoding City. We'll come back to see you again, Xiao Ze replied. Next time you come see this old man, the chief said. He was only in his 50s or 60s. With Xiao Ze's blessings, he could easily live to 100, barring any unexpected danger. Don't you need to tell them? Someone asked. No need. It's not like I'm not coming back, Xiao Ze said. Ha, good. Go out and make your mark. Maybe someday I'll hear your name all the way from the city. If you get tired, come back and rest. This will always be your home. The village chief's words pricked at Xiao Ze's heart. The chief had always been like that since Xiao Ze was a child, kind, practical, and beloved by the villagers. The whole village had chosen him to be their head because he treated everyone well. It was a shame he wasn't a spirit master, otherwise he might have been great at it. Still, Living out his years peacefully in Qingxi village was a good life. He had no descendants, but the other villagers would care for him. Village chief, I'm leaving now. Go on, go. This old man still needs to go for his walk up there. Xiao Ze walked away, and the chief watched his back until he was out of sight. The smile on the chief's face stayed long after. Ah, my life was worth it. To have met a powerful spirit master like that child, it was worth it. Chapter 29, Goodbye Grandpa Xiao, a different kind of happiness. Xiao Ze, don't be sad. If it gets really bad, Yuer will let you pinch her cheeks, Shuyuer said bashfully, taking Xiao Ze's hand. Xiao Ze nearly choked. Yuer could actually say something that embarrassing. Shui Binger's face flushed. Good heavens. I'm not sad, just a little nostalgic, Xiao Ze mumbled. My parents died when I was young. I started working early, but I mostly survived because other older brothers and sisters and my grandparents helped me. I grew up eating at many different houses. Boys mature slower, and back then, I wasn't even tall enough to cook. Sigh. They're getting older and older. How many more times will I really get to see them? Xiao Ze, didn't you say that once you become a divinity, you can stay in the lower realm another 100 years? Shui Binger asked. We could stay in Qingxi village for 100 years, then go to the god realm. The girls' faces lit up. It was a wonderful idea. It would also fulfill Xiao Ze's dream and let them cut ties with the lower realm. The others could bring their families to the god realm first, and the rest could follow later. Xiao Ze nodded. It's decided. We don't even need 100 years. We'll leave once they're gone. Okay, the girls agreed. Heh, none of us even have divinity inheritances yet, and you're already planning life after becoming a divinity? Huo Wu laughed. With Xiao Ze here, we'll definitely become divinities, Shuyuer said confidently. Exactly, others chimed in. Huo Wu pouted. I didn't say it was impossible, just that it's still early. Enough talk. It really is early. Let's head to Nuoding City. Nuoding City, Nodding Academy. A spirited spirit master sat on a rock, long hair loosely tied. It was Principal Xiao. By my count, he was 12 when he left, so he should be 14 now. 2 years flew by, Principal Xiao murmured, narrowing his eyes. With Xiao Ze's talent, he should already be a spirit elder, maybe almost a spirit ancestor. Nearby, a clutch of 6-year-old newcomers practiced their spirit possession. Principal Xiao smiled. This year's the season for the All-Continent Advanced Spirit Master Academy Elite Soul Master competition. I wonder if Xiao Ze can compete. It would be great if he could, but there are so many prodigies nowadays, he sighed with a fond shake of his head. Old Li's General Store. Xiao Ze, why are we here? Yilingling asked. To buy fish. My farming now isn't just crops and livestock. I've got a fishery. We can raise fish, Xiao Ze said, smiling. Really? Shui Yuer's eyes sparkled. She loved fish. Of course, from now on we'll have even more delicious fish. Hey, fish! Shui Binger rubbed her forehead. Her older sister was hopeless, but it was nice to think of fresh fish to eat. Xiao Ze went straight into the shop. Old Li froze when he saw him. It took a moment to register. Xiao Ze, it's you, little fellow. I haven't seen you in ages. If Principal Xiao knew you were back, he'd be overjoyed. Yes, it's been 2 years. I came back to see Grandpa Xiao, Xiao Ze said with a smile. Old Li, give me some fish, a little of everything. All right. Old Li moved as quickly as ever and packed what he could spare. This is all the fish I have. We don't specialize in fish, after all. It's enough. Xiao Ze took out gold coins and tried to hand them over, but Old Li waved him off. Don't be silly. You've finally come home. It's just fish, no need for money. That's different. Business is business, Xiao Ze insisted. If you keep insisting, I'll get mad, Old Li grumbled. All right, don't be angry, Xiao Ze relented. That's better. Now go see your Grandpa Xiao. After the group left, Old Li found 100 gold coins in the basin by his shop's entrance. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This child, he's still the same as ever. They arrived at Nodding Academy's gate. So this is the academy Xiao Ze studied at. It's not very big, one of the girls observed. It's just a junior academy, Xiao Ze said, rubbing Shu Yuer's head. But the scenery is nice and it's quiet, good for cultivation. Xiao Ze? The 2 guards at the gate recognized him instantly. Long time no see. My goodness, you've gone a bit whiter. I almost didn't recognize you, one guard laughed. Well, that's what cultivation does, Xiao Ze replied. You're here to see the principal, right? He's in today. Let me tell you, the principal has reached Spirit Emperor already. Xiao Ze's eyebrows rose in surprise. Principal Xiao had become a Spirit Emperor. That was impressive. He entered the academy and, using a slight perception, pinpointed Grandpa Xiao's location. He walked over and found Principal Xiao alone on a rock, sipping a little wine. "Young man, drinking alone. How carefree," Xiao Ze teased. Principal Xiao froze, then shook his head, muttering, "I must be drunk. I'm hearing voices." Xiao Ze came up and patted the old man's shoulder. "Grandpa Xiao, you didn't imagine it. I'm back. Xiao Ze." Principal Xiao's pupils narrowed. He spun around, saw the familiar, slightly fairer face, then threw an arm around Xiao Ze's shoulders. "You rascal! I thought I'd misheard, but you actually came back! Ha ha ha! 2 years, and you finally returned. I thought maybe you'd been doing poorly out there and were ashamed to come home. Returning in glory is like wearing fine clothes at night. I had to come back, Grandpa Xiao." Xiao Ze laughed. Principal Xiao stepped down from the rock and, noticing the group of girls behind Xiao Ze, pointed at them in astonishment. "Are they all your?" "They're all my girlfriends," Xiao Ze said with feigned arrogance. "In the future, they'll also be my wives." "You scoundrel, you've done well. You left only 2 years and came back with 8 granddaughters-in-law." Principal Xiao was elated. He had no children of his own, so Xiao Ze was like a grandson to him. "You don't even know who I am," Xiao Ze teased back, and Principal Xiao ruffled his hair. Ning Rongrong and the others smiled. It was clear Xiao Ze and Principal Xiao had a warm relationship. Despite a hard childhood, parents gone, years of relying on others, Xiao Ze had met many good people along the way. That kind of care was a different kind of happiness. "Grandpa Xiao, let me introduce my wives." Xiao Ze stepped forward. First, Ning Rongrong, the eldest young lady of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school. "Hello, Grandpa Xiao." Ning Rongrong curtsied politely. Grandpa Xiao froze, as if he'd misheard. "The eldest young lady of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school?" He glanced at Xiao Ze with a puzzled look that clearly said, "You didn't make a mistake, did you?" Xiao Ze only smiled and nodded. Rongrong really is the eldest young lady of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school. Her father is Sectmaster Ning Fengji. At that, Ning Rongrong summoned her 9 treasure-glazed tile pagoda. "Grandpa Xiao, look, this is my 9 treasure pagoda. It can prove my identity, can't it?" Grandpa Xiao counted the tiers from top to bottom. When he reached 9, he was completely stunned. 9 layers, that's 2 more than usual. Doesn't that mean she's on the verge of advancing to titled Douluo? She's invincible. "Rongrong, I'm sorry, it's just that your identity is shocking. I never imagined that this brat Xiao Ze, after being away 2 years, could end up married to the eldest young lady of the 7 treasure-glazed tile school," he said, a little embarrassed. "If it were me, I wouldn't believe it either," Ning Rongrong replied sincerely. "But Xiao Ze really is kind. He treated us gently, cooked for us, and helped our cultivation a great deal. Without him, we wouldn't be where we are." Good, good. Grandpa Xiao nodded heavily. "Only when 2 people support each other can a family thrive." Xiao Ze pouted inwardly. The old man had never even been married himself. "Grandpa Xiao, let me introduce the rest. This is Zhu King, a direct descendant of the Star Luo Ju family." "The Star Luo Ju family?" Grandpa Xiao's eyes widened. He remembered how that family always intermarried with the imperial line. "Ju King?" Ju King spoke up, a little shy. "I ran away. My fiancé left me. I went looking for him and found out he'd been fooling around outside. Then I met Xiao Ze. He treated me well, and I fell in love with him." Good, good. But you must be careful of the Star Luo Empire in the future," Grandpa Xiao warned. "We understand," Xiao Ze said. He introduced the next woman. "Grandpa Xiao, this is Dugu Yan, granddaughter of poisoned Douluo Dugu Bo." "Hiss." Grandpa Xiao breathed, staring at Xiao Ze in utter disbelief. "Why do so many people like you, you brat? You're excellent, but you shouldn't be that remarkable in Heaven Do City. And the identities of these daughters-in-law are frighteningly high." The girls laughed. Duguyan smiled and added, "Grandpa Xiao, please don't judge him by appearances. Xiao Ze is the #1 genius of Heaven Do City, and he's already a spirit king." At that, Grandpa Xiao's jaw dropped. "My goodness, your cultivation speed is incredible. You left without even being a spirit elder, and 2 years later, you're a spirit king? You're almost as strong as me." Grandpa, you know my spirit's special nature. That's why I advanced so quickly, Xiao Ze explained. That makes sense. Grandpa Xiao nodded, now more thoughtful than incredulous. Xiao Ze continued the introductions. This is Ye Lingling from the Ye family in Heaven Do City. They're the world's top healing family. This is Meng Yiran. Her grandparents are the Dragon Duke and the Snake Matron. These two are Shui Binger and Shui Yuer, the eldest young ladies of Tianshui Academy. And this is Huo Wu, the eldest young lady of Blazing Academy. Grandpa Xiao's head swam with the names and titles. Each identity was more impressive than the last. It seemed Xiao Ze had made a real name for himself in Heaven Do City. Good, good. Xiao Ze, you must treat them well, he said, then turned to the women. If he ever bullies you, tell me, and I'll teach him a lesson. You're too kind, Grandpa Xiao, they chorused. I didn't just come back to see you, Xiao Ze added with a grin. Grandpa Xiao feigned suspicion. Then what else do you want? You're not here asking for money, are you? This old bag of bones doesn't have any. Not at all. Xiao Ze's tone grew serious. The All-Continent Advanced Academy Elite Tournament is about to start. Our Heaven Do Royal Academy can go straight to the finals, and I want to invite you to come watch. Grandpa Xiao's eyes gleamed. He truly wanted to see Xiao Ze perform. I can go? Of course. Ning Rongrong chimed in. You could come to Heaven Do Royal Academy as a visiting teacher and come with us. Besides, your Spirit Emperor's strength is more than enough. Grandpa Xiao looked surprised to be called a Spirit Emperor attached to a junior academy. In truth, even in the 5 elemental academies and the Heaven Do Royal Academy, Spirit Emperors rarely served as ordinary teachers. I'll go, he said without hesitation. Xiao Ze puffed out his chest. Grandpa Xiao, just watch me. I'll take on 7 opponents by myself. Don't be reckless, Grandpa Xiao warned. Winning is the important thing. I know. That night, Xiao Ze and the 8 girls left Nodding Academy and returned to Nuoding City. Nodding Academy didn't have enough rooms for all of them to stay. Xiao Ze, Ning Rongrong asked as they walked, how come Grandpa Xiao, with Spirit Emperor strength, is still principal here? Xiao Ze thought back. When I first met him, he was a Spirit Ancestor, then a Spirit King before I left, and now he's a Spirit Emperor. He's talented, but the truth is, Nuoding City is his home. He likes this life, so he stayed as Nodding Academy's principal for nearly 20 years. 20 years? The girls echoed. Yes, but I'm definitely his best student. Xiao Ze grinned and tapped his chest. They burst into laughter. Brother Xiao Ze, you're shameless, Shui Yuer teased. After 20 years, he must have taught countless students. There are surely more impressive ones, another girl said. Sk, Xiao Ze said, mockingly chastened. Fine, I'll work harder. Chapter 231, Tiando Empire Competition Zone opens. Over the next few days, Xiao Ze took Ning Rongrong and the others to explore the area around Nuoding City. Though Nuoding was a remote little city, its scenery was still pleasant. With only a few days left before the Heaven Do competition, they had to hurry back. Grandpa Xiao, you've been gone so long. Won't something happen at the academy? Xiao Ze asked. Don't worry. I've already delegated everything. Besides, they know you're going to the finals. They're practically begging to come with me. Grandpa Xiao replied. Grandpa, I have a spirit recording tool here so they can watch the matches, Xiao Ze said, taking out a small recording spirit tool. When we fight, just use this to record. Later, when we get back, you can show it to everyone. That's useful. You actually have one of these. Grandpa Xiao took it and immediately began fiddling with it, delighted. He recorded everything, grinning like a child. Xiao Ze felt Grandpa Xiao seemed younger by the day, which was a comforting change. Heaven Do City was still a fair distance from Nuoding. Even at full speed, their carriage didn't reach the academy until the day before the competition. Binger, Yuer, Huo Wu, your matches are tomorrow. Go get some rest and give it your best. We'll meet again in the finals, Xiao Ze said. Okay, bye, brother Xiao Ze. Shui Yuer stood on tiptoe and kissed Xiao Ze's cheek. Huo Wu followed with an exuberant kiss that left Xiao Ze blushing. Seeing her sisters had already kissed him, Shui Binger leaned in shyly and kissed him as well, soft, cool, and pleasantly comforting. Ahem, all right, go rest, Xiao Ze said, feeling several pairs of amused eyes on him. When Ning Rongrong came through the villa door, she collapsed onto the soft sofa, burying her face in the velvet cushion and letting out a long sigh. Ah, I'm finally home. I'm exhausted. She rolled and flopped about, her hairband already tossed to some corner. Xiao Ze raised an eyebrow at the human whirlwind and lightly tapped her upturned bottom twice. Ning Rongrong startled, and before she could react, he scooped her up by the waist. She reflexively wrapped her arms around his neck and straddled his lap. You're not a child anymore. Stop rolling on the couch, Xiao Ze said, poking her forehead. Hey, I just haven't been home in a long time. I missed it, Ning Rongrong replied, kissing his face. The villa held too many memories. Many first times between them had happened here. Xiao Ze kissed her gently. It was soft and familiar. Get to bed early. We have to be up to watch the competition tomorrow. It looks like the first match will be our Heaven Do Royal Academy's second team, Xiao Ze said. Got it. They had been out exploring and were indeed tired. By dawn the next day, the thin morning mist still clung to the air, but the Heaven Do Great Spirit Arena was already a hive of activity. Recently renovated, the arena had become a massive competition venue capable of seating 80,000 spectators. Long before the opening ceremony, there were crowds at every entrance. Noble young ladies in their finest gowns arrived flanked by guards. Many had little or no spirit power themselves, but came to find promising spirit masters for their families. The contestants here were young and talented, perfect matches for marriage negotiations. Look, that's Yu Tianheng of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Clan. He's one of Thunder Academy's twin stars, someone shouted, drawing a ripple of excitement. Yu Tianheng and his entourage walked slowly toward the arena. Xiao Ze felt a twinge of irritation at seeing their school uniforms. You couldn't help but notice the contrasts between academies. Tang San glanced over and met Xiao Ze's eyes. Xiao Ze gave him a slight nod. Tang San's expression was placid, but he was clearly determined to improve his spirit power and beat Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze, however, had little reason to be worried. Without immortal herbs, Tang San wasn't a spirit ancestor now. At best, he hovered in his 30s. Even if Tang San's potential resembled the original tale, he wouldn't match Xiao Ze's current strength. Outside the arena, nobles circulated, looking to recruit spirit masters. Such talents were prized as much for show as for substance. Inside the city, every second-floor window of the tea houses was packed with people craning to see the procession. Heaven Do City had become a whirlpool of activity and commerce. Even an old man selling sugar paintings could command outrageous prices for an ice phoenix candy. No one knew how many times the price had been multiplied. The city guard formed human barriers to control the frenzied masses. With so many visitors, strict management was necessary to avoid chaos. Wow, so many people, Ning Rongrong marveled, peering over a sea of heads. Yes, Xiao Ze agreed. People have come from distant cities just to watch this competition. Do you think we could enter this tournament next time? Ning Rongrong asked. Theoretically, yes, but that would be a bit unfair, Xiao Ze said flatly. Hey, I know, she said with a small laugh. She thought further on it. The idea of a spirit saint entering this contest would render everything else pointless. In 4 years, she might be around spirit saint level at 18, but even that would be a major imbalance now. Today was the opening ceremony of the elite tournament of advanced Soul Master Academies of the continent. There was only one match scheduled, an exhibition where Heaven Do Royal Academy's second team would draw an opponent. If nothing unexpected happened, the opponent would be Blue Tyrant Academy. Without the players from Shrek Academy, Blue Tyrant would be outmatched. Blue Tyrant only fielded a low-configuration golden generation with spirit power around the mid-30s, far too weak against Heaven Do. Notably, because Xu Hanfeng and others were present, Meng Shenji had reassigned many from the original first team to the second team, except the Shimo brothers. Yu Feng and Oslo were both spirit ancestor-level masters. Blue Tyrant stood little chance. Soon, Xiao Ze and his group reached Heaven Do Royal Academy's rest area. The space was vast. A large portion had been set aside for Heaven Do Royal Academy. The crowd swelled and murmured with expectation as the first match drew near. Chapter 232, First Qualifying Round. Yufeng, Oslo, how are your preparations coming along? Xiao Ze asked with a smile. Boss, don't worry. We'll definitely win this first match, Yufeng answered seriously. Good, good. Play well. You shouldn't face anyone too strong in your first match. When the horn sounded across the Tiando Great Spirit Arena, the eyes of tens of thousands of spectators turned to the entrance tunnel. First to enter, the veteran powerhouse from the Heaven Do Empire, Heaven Do Royal Academy, the announcer called. A brilliant golden light swept down the passage as more than a dozen figures marched into the arena in perfect formation. Their white uniforms, trimmed in gold, gleamed. The embossed royal crown of Heaven Do adorned their left chests. Xiao Ze led them with steady steps. Even though this was his second time in the arena, he still felt a thrill. The plaza was surrounded by roaring crowds, the cheers of tens of thousands of people, overwhelming in their power. A golden main platform stood at the front, backed by the VIP seats. Teams filed into the center of the venue in neat rows. The last to enter was Blue Tyrant Academy. Compared to Heaven Do Royal and the other 5 elemental academies, Blue Tyrant wasn't particularly strong, but against academies from other kingdoms, they were still competitive. Blue Tyrant recruited commoners who were generally of average talent, so their showing here was respectable. At least Xiao Ze noticed all Blue Tyrant's students were spirit elders. The last 4 likely had only recently advanced, but that was still impressive. Next, please welcome His Majesty, the Emperor of the Heaven Do Empire, to declare this competition open. In the central VIP seat, Emperor Xiao Ze rose in a crimson and gold robe. I, Xiao Ze, Emperor of the Heaven Do Empire, on behalf of the Heaven Do Empire, declare the Continental Advanced Spirit Master Academy Elite Tournament officially open. Schoolmaster Ning delivered a brief address, and then Platinum Bishop Salas took the stage to draw the matchups. Preliminary match, Kangui Academy versus Zixing Academy. Preliminary match, Oakland Academy versus Flame Radiance Academy. First round preliminaries, Heaven Do Royal Academy versus Blue Tyrant Academy. Salas' eyes lingered on Xiao Ze. The Supreme Pontiff had instructed him to watch Xiao Ze closely, but not to intervene. Captain of Heaven Do Royal Academy, huh? The Platinum Bishop wondered what the Pontiff knew. Xiao Ze's public profile in Heaven Do City was low. Even Salas himself had not known of Xiao Ze before the exchange competition. Clearly, Xiao Ze was unusually discreet. Next, the first match of the preliminaries, Heaven Do Royal Academy's Vice Team versus Blue Tyrant Academy. The match will begin in 30 minutes. Xiao Ze and the others retreated to the rest area. Xiao Ze, your Old Flames Academy is about to start their match. Aren't you going over to celebrate? Ning Rongrong teased. Xiao Ze's mouth twitched. What old flame? Liu Erlong and I have no relationship at all. You didn't even have to ask. Of course you meant Liu Erlong, and you say you have no relationship? Xiao Ze's face warmed. He reached out and playfully pinched Ning Rongrong's cheek. That's what you get for talking nonsense. Ning Rongrong pretended to pout, but had no real malice. She was just teasing. Truth be told, she was eager to see Xiao Ze best, the arrogant Liu Erlong. It would be good sport, and if Liu Erlong had once liked Yu Xiaogang, humiliating him would surely rile Yu Xiaogang up. A delicious prospect. Seriously, you should go watch. You might get a pleasant surprise, she said, trying to sound solemn. Xiao Ze studied her suspiciously, searching for a hidden meaning, but heard none. Don't look at me like that. I'm not jealous. Even if you beat Liu Erlong, I wouldn't be unhappy. It might even piss off Yu Xiaogang. How great would that be? Ning Rongrong added. We'll see. Coward, she scoffed. Soon both teams took the field. Gasps rippled through the crowd when it became clear that Yufeng and Oslo were both spirit ancestors. This was Heaven Do Royal Academy's vice team, not the main lineup, and yet 2 spirit ancestors stood among them. If the vice team had spirit ancestors, the main team must be even more formidable. Many people realized just how terrifying Heaven Do Royal Academy had become this year. Schoolmaster Ning, Bishop Salas, look how strong our Heaven Do Royal Academy is this year. Emperor Xiao Ze said with a proud smile. Your Majesty, this year's Heaven Do Royal Academy is indeed powerful, Schoolmaster Ning replied. I hear the main team already has spirit kings. They may even have a shot at the championship. Ha ha ha! Let's not look that far ahead, Xiao Ze said, though his smile didn't fade. In his mind, apart from Wuhun Academy, no team could stand in Heaven Do Royal's way. At minimum, they should be runners-up, maybe champions. Their empire hadn't taken the title in a long time, and a win would be glorious. In the Thunder Academy rest area, Yu Xiaogong and Flender exchanged concerned looks. They had both gone to great lengths in the past year to prevent Yu Luomian from uncovering certain evidence. For a time, they had kept a low profile, and when Yu Luomian finally left and a new dean arrived, Yu Xiaogong gave up hope of ever becoming dean himself. Yu Luomian had clearly never intended to let him have that post. Still, their ruthless actions against the previous dean had had one upside. Shrek Academy's resources hadn't been reduced over that year, a small mercy. Xiaogong, Heaven Do Royal Academy is absurdly strong. Even their second team has 2 spirit ancestors. Can Thunder Academy really make it to the finals? Flender asked. Heaven Do Royal is indeed strong, Yu Xiaogong said. The Vice team might be beatable, we could possibly take them, but the main team is on another level. Fortunately, the main team goes straight to the finals. They don't have to go through the preliminary rounds. That's true, Flender agreed. There were 33 spots in the finals. 3 teams advanced directly. The remaining 30 spots would be contested between Heaven Do and Star Luo regions, 15 spots apiece. With 15 slots available, Thunder Academy should have no trouble securing at least one. Thunder Academy was ranked among the top 5, after all. Chapter 233, The Year of Lu Erlong. Alas, it'll be hard for us to place well in the finals. Flender sighed softly. This is already pretty good. In the last exchange tournament, our Thunder Academy was beaten Z. A year has passed. Xiao Ze must be even stronger now. Yu Xiaogong stared after the match, baffled by Xiao Ze's growth. He hadn't seen Xiao Ze that long ago. Back then, Xiao Ze wasn't as advanced in spirit power as Little San, so how had he already reached Spirit Ancestor while Little San hadn't? Yu Xiaogong was desperate to know Xiao Ze's cultivation method. If it could get him to level 30, that would be incredible. Of course, he knew Xiao Ze wouldn't share it, so he'd have to find someone else. Tang San sat listening to Yu Xiaogong and Flender, clenching his fists. He couldn't understand how Xiao Ze always managed to overshadow him. He just couldn't figure it out. Watching Yu Feng knock a Blue Tyrant Academy member off the stage, Xiao Ze realized Blue Tyrant was out of the running. At Ning Rongrong's insistent urging, he bit the bullet and walked over to Blue Tyrant's rest area. Ning Rongrong and the others covered their mouths and giggled as he approached. Lu Erlong saw him coming, crossed one leg, and smiled faintly. What, came to watch our Blue Tyrant lose? Xiao Ze said nothing, just looked at her. Today Lu Erlong wore a dark red leather battle skirt that hugged her figure. The slit showed long, fair legs, drawing many admiring glances. Her top was snug, the zipper teasingly low. Xiao Ze felt a momentary pang of awkwardness. Like what you see? Lu Erlong tugged her zipper down a little to reveal more skin. Xiao Ze cleared his throat. Not bad. You look better than before. You're flattering me, she replied, half mocking. It's not like I've been improving at my age. I was in seclusion for a while. He felt a bit embarrassed under her gaze. A spirit king? She whispered. Yes, level 54, he answered. Wow, a 14-year-old spirit king. That's outrageous. You'll probably become a titled Douluo years, maybe even a decade, earlier than Tang Hao, Liu Erlong said, a flicker of envy in her voice. If you keep it up, you could be close to titled before long, Xiao Ze added. My talent is nowhere near yours. If I reach titled around 50, I'll be lucky, she sighed. And our Blue Tyrant Academy isn't strong to begin with. Getting a spot here is winning in itself. They fell into a brief silence. Xiao Ze didn't know quite what to say. Then, without warning, Liu Erlong looked at his hand, grabbed it, and held it in hers. He tried to pull away, struggled for a moment, then let go. Are you afraid I'll be sad? She asked, tilting her head and smiling. No, I just don't have your strength, he said awkwardly. Is that so? Her smile widened. She hadn't used much force. She only needed the gesture. The longer she looked at him, the more she found him handsome. After nearly a year apart, she'd realized she couldn't stop thinking about him. Night after night, she had trouble sleeping. Healers couldn't help. She'd even made a doll of him to hold while she slept, and it worked. Compared to how she'd felt toward Yu Xiaogong in the past, this was completely different. Over time, she'd come to accept it. There was an age gap. She could joke she was practically his grandmother, but it didn't matter. She was Liu Erlong. If she wanted someone, she would go for it. She and Yu Xiaogong had once been betrothed. They'd only ever held hands, nothing more. She thought she still had something to give and decided to act on her feelings rather than wait for him. Given Xiao Ze's age and the number of admirers around him, he would never make the first move, so she did. Now seeing him respond, her face softened. She picked at his palm with a finger playfully. Xiao Ze tightened his grip slightly. He could feel the nervous sweat in her hand. He wasn't heartless. Liu Erlong's boldness deserved a reaction. He didn't know if his feelings would grow, but he recognized that affection could develop over time. That, and he liked her straightforwardness. She reminded him a little of Huo Wu, but even more resolute. Nearby, a dark figure slipped back into the shadows and returned to his seat unseen. Zhu Qing, how did it go? Ning Rongrong asked excitedly as Zhu Zuqing and Du Guyan gathered round. Zhu Zuqing nodded. It went well. They're holding hands. That's perfect. Looks like Xiao Ze's still charming. He even got an older, a big sister like Liu Erlong, Ning Rongrong gushed, already imagining future scenes of Liu Erlong listening to her. She pictured herself as the main wife, and Liu Erlong a doting concubine. Who initiated it, Xiao Ze or Liu Erlong? Du Guyan asked curiously. At first Liu Erlong did, but then Xiao Ze took the initiative, Zhu Zuqing explained. They all laughed softly. Seems our comrade Xiao Ze can't stand to see the big sister sad. Chapter 234, Tianshui University versus Xiangjia University. Before long, Blue Tyrant Academy was defeated. Xiao Ze let go of Dean Liu Erlong's hand. I'm going back, she said. Liu Erlong hesitated, reluctant to leave, but she didn't want her students to know she was seeing a younger man yet, so she only nodded and walked away. When Xiao Ze returned to the Heaven Do Royal Academy's rest area, he was immediately swarmed by Ning Rongrong and the others. A familiar scent lingered in the air. Xiao Ze, was Dean Liu's hand soft? Ning Rongrong asked at once, looping her arm through his. Xiao Ze's mouth twitched. Could they really ask something so embarrassing? You're killing me. Was it soft or not? Ning Rongrong pressed. It was fine. After all, she's a spirit Douluo, and she looks like she's barely in her 30s, Xiao Ze managed, trying to steel himself. Ha ha! I think he looks pretty satisfied, Du Guyan laughed. Brother Xiao Ze, who do you think is prettier, Dean Liu or us? Meng Yuran teased. Xiao Ze? One question followed another until Xiao Ze felt his scalp go numb. Don't ask anymore, he groaned and collapsed onto a bench. Seeing that, the girls finally let up. Shui Yuer and the others arrived shortly after. Brother Xiao Ze, let's go back and make dinner. Today's matches are over. Our matches start tomorrow, Shui Yuer said. Okay, Xiao Ze nodded quickly, eager to leave the awkwardness behind. The girls covered their mouths and giggled. Sisters, what are you laughing at? Shui Yuer asked, baffled. Ning Rongrong explained the whole situation between Xiao Ze and Dean Liu. The three girls' eyes widened as they listened. They hadn't expected Brother Xiao Ze to be connected with the Dean of Blue Tyrant Academy. It was a little scandalous. Shui Yuer's jaw dropped. Dean Liu was probably in her 40s, even older than Yuer's aunt. That gave her an idea. If her aunt could be paired with Brother Xiao Ze, her aunt wouldn't have any reason to stop Yuer and her sister from seeing him. The thought made Shui Yuer grin mischievously. I'll go test my aunt, she whispered to herself. She's been working so hard for the academy all these years. It's time she relaxed. Brother Xiao Ze is young. It'd be a good match. Hey, so smart. Shui Binger watched her sister giggle and tugged her sleeve. Sister, let's go. Oh, right. 2 days passed since the competition began. All the Spirit Master Academies had finished the first round of preliminaries. Today was the 4th day of the competition and the start of the second round. 14 matches had to be completed each day, but thankfully each match didn't take long, at most a dozen minutes. Hey, today Tianshui Academy's opponent is actually Elephant Armor Academy, Shui Yuer said, laughing. Looks like we'll give them a little surprise. Xiao Ze was surprised. Logically, that match should have been Blue Tyrant Academy against Elephant Armor Academy. There must have been a schedule change. No matter, Shrek Academy was already in turmoil, and Tianshui was prepared. Good luck. Watch out for Elephant Armor Academy's defense and their third spirit ability. It can control you from a distance, Xiao Ze warned. We know, Shui Yuer replied, and Huyan Li probably has a skull spirit bone, a defensive one, Xiao Ze added. A skull spirit bone? He's so rich! Shuyuer gushed, envious. She and her sister didn't even have a single spirit bone yet. Xiao Ze patted her head. Don't worry, you'll get spirit bones in time. He thought briefly about where large numbers of spirit bones could be found. The most reliable places were the Star Do Great Forest, where Gu Yuena had spent years and where countless high-level spirit beasts had died, and the Northern Ice Field, another gathering place for spirit beasts where buried bones might be uncovered. The Dragon Graveyard would be the richest source, full of dragon remains, but its location was nearly impossible to find. For now, the Star Do Great Forest and the Northern Ice Field were the more practical options. Soon, Tianshui Academy and Elephant Armor Academy entered the arena. Tianshui fielded 4 spirit ancestors. Elephant Armor had 3, giving Tianshui the numerical advantage. Tianshui also had a stronger spirit fusion skill. The 7 members of Elephant Armor Academy marched in, and the arena seemed to rumble under their weight, like 7 walking mountains. Shu Binger and Yuer clicked their tongues at the sight. The team looked bulkier and bulkier. Dressed in black, the shortest among them was still over 2 meters tall. Huyan Li, why are you all getting fatter and fatter? Shu Yuer asked. It increases our defense, Huyan Li said, patting his trembling chest. So ugly, Shu Yuer scoffed. Huyan Li didn't care. Spirit masters bonded with the diamond mammoth spirit tended to look like that, but after spirit possession, they'd appear more imposing. The announcer's voice boomed over the arena. Elephant Armor Academy Team Captain, Huyan Li, a level 43 defense-type battle spirit ancestor. Tianshui Academy Team Captain, Shui Binger, a level 47 control-type battle spirit ancestor. Huyan Li's eyes widened. Did you take drugs? You increased so many levels in 1 year. You were only a spirit ancestor recently. You can't have jumped so fast. That has nothing to do with you, Shui Binger said coolly. The referee raised his hand. Both teams, salute. The 14 fighters bowed in unison. Preliminary Round 2, Match 5, officially begins. Matches across the arena began at the same time. Spirit rings glowed, spirits were called, and bursts of light flashed as techniques collided, making the Tiando Great Spirit Arena dazzle. The audience erupted in cheers. Chapter 235, Soul Fusion Skill, Ice and Snow. The 7 members of Elephant Armor Academy stripped off their jackets, revealing huge earthy bodies. Their loose fat snapped into exaggerated muscles. Their faces shifted too, noses lengthening, 2 tusks jutting out. Even uglier, Shui Yuer muttered. Among the 7, 3 were spirit ancestors and the rest spirit elders. Match starts. Move, Huyan Li barked. Immediately, the 3rd soul ring of all 7 flared, and they unleashed a coordinated control technique on Shui Wu from every direction. Shui Binger had expected it. The Elephant Armor people knew Tianshui Academy well and would almost certainly single Shui Wu out. Now that Shui Wu was a spirit ancestor with strong amplification and offense, controlling her would swing the match. Shui Wu froze where she stood, an invisible force pinning her as injuries accumulated. Ice Seal! Shui Binger whispered, and a sudden frost crept over the 7 Elephant Armor members, granting Shui Wu a moment to react. Gu Qingbo supported her, while the others surged at the armored opponents. Shui Wu began to dance. A dark cloud billowed overhead and engulfed the arena. Heavy raindrops fell and an avalanche of ice and snow formed. As she extended her arms, a roar like collapsing glaciers echoed from the sky. A reverse-rotating blizzard, dozens of meters across, plunged from the clouds. The counterclockwise winds screamed. The ice and snow crystallized into sharp blades that, under centrifugal force, sliced outward. The storm's edge shifted as one, enveloping all 7 enemies. First soul skill. Huyan Li's face went hard as he felt tearing pain across his body. He hadn't expected Shui Wu to delay releasing a spirit ability. In response to their first soul ring, a transparent crystal sheen covered each of them, forming a full-body defensive barrier. Shu Yuer crossed her arms, and the light of her 4th soul ring exploded. She thrust her arms out, and 2 water element chains shot forward, cutting the air with blinding speed. 2 elephant armor fighters didn't react in time and were caught. The chains twisted and reshaped into the snarling heads of lynxy dolphins that bit into both men's shoulder blades. Even the diamond mammoth spirit's renowned defense couldn't prevent wounds from opening. Worse, the blue light coursing through the chains began to siphon spirit power through those wounds, funneling it back into Shui Yuer. Captain, this ability is draining our spirit power, one of the men warned. Can someone get them loose? Huyan Li and his teammates were currently being pressed by Yu Hairu and her squad. Diamond Mammoth's defenses were stout, but its slowness and lack of flexible offense left them at a disadvantage. They were being maneuvered and bled out slowly. Even the third soul skill's suppression wouldn't help much. Tianshui's players knew how to counter. We can't break it, someone panted. Troublesome. Huyan Li cursed. Snow Soul chant! At the same time, Shui Binger's clear voice threaded through the arena. She tapped lightly, and the instant her fourth soul ring flared, delicate snow began to fall within 100 meters. Dozens of ice crystal thorns formed and stabbed toward Elephant Armor Academy. The already struggling fighters felt something new, cold seeping into them. Captain, the snow is freezing our blood, the vice captain shouted. Huyan Li's expression turned grave. I feel it too. We can't afford to stall. Move, he ordered. He and his team activated their second soul skill to magnify their strength and surged forward with brutal momentum. The Tianshui students avoided head-on clashes, flitting around the edge like butterflies around flowers and constantly harassing them. Whenever the Elephant Academy charged, the girls would leap behind the ice thorn barriers and use them to block the advance. Shuiwu danced too, shifting rapidly and keeping to the outermost edge. One of the Elephant Armor members dropped to his knees, lips blue, face pale, his body covered with frostbite wounds. Huyan Shi! Huyan Li shook him. Captain, I can't go on. My body won't move. Huyan Shi looked as if he were walking the line between life and death. Damn it. Huyan Li had no easy answer. The opposition's abilities were like complementary domains, too annoying to face directly. He had no choice but to have Huyan Shi step down. Already it was difficult with 7. Down to 6, they were in an even worse spot. Sister, let's just go for it. It's time, Shui Binger urged. Understood. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer turned back to back and interlaced their fingers. The instant their spirit power connected, a dazzling ice-blue pillar of light burst up between them. Ice and snow drifting. Crap, spirit fusion skill. Huyan Li froze. They're using a soul fusion skill now, when we're already like this? From the VIP stand, Ning Fengji watched Huyan Zhen and smiled. Sectmaster Huyan, looks like Elephant Armor Academy might lose. Losing is possible. Tianshui is very strong, and they used a soul fusion skill. Huyan Zhen, seeing the fusion for the first time, frowned. He'd heard rumors before, but had never witnessed it. How had the two girls' spirit power spiked so quickly? Something was off. He couldn't quite place it. Huyan Li's pupils narrowed and veins stood out on his forehead. Quick, everyone gather. The 6 remaining Elephant Armor members regrouped. A thick, skull-like helmet of energy formed above Huyan Li's head, and a nearly solid energy wall sprang up in front of him. This was his trademark defense. So you really have a skull, he snarled upward. Let's see which is harder, your skull or my soul fusion skill. All across the arena, snowflakes seemed to answer. Each transformed into a razor-sharp ice crystal blade as it spun. Tens of thousands of them accelerated as they fell, converging into a massive ice and snow tornado more than 30 meters in diameter. Chapter 236. It seems I need to go find Ning Rongrong. Wherever the tornado had passed, countless gashes scarred the arena floor. Even the protective barrier of the venue shivered under the strain, as if it might crack at any moment. Boom! When the ice and snow tornado slammed into the Elephant Armor Academy's barrier, a sharp, slicing sound rang through the entire stadium. Huyan Li stared in horror as spiderweb cracks raced across their supposedly unbreakable defense. This was a barrier that could normally withstand a Spirit Emperor. Impossible. How can the power of this Spirit Fusion skill be so great? Before he could finish, the barrier exploded open. The tornado swept the 6 members of Elephant Armor Academy up into the air. The razor-like snowflakes lashed at their skin, flesh, even bone. Huyan Li's head spirit bone had shielded his vitals, but his limbs were streaked with blood. The others were worse. It looked as if layers of muscle had been scraped away. When the tornado finally dissipated, the 6 of them crashed against the arena's edge, bodies scored with fine lines of blood. Even Huyan Li's skull bore several cracks. The referee sucked in a breath. This spirit fusion skill might be beyond his own capacity to resist. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer, however, still stood with energy to spare. The crowd fell silent, stunned by the terrifying technique. Tianshui Academy wins. In the VIP box, Sword Douluo Chenxian nodded slightly. The power of this spirit fusion skill has reached a terrifying level. No team can take it head-on, and it seems capable of growing even stronger. If anyone else had said it, Ning Fengji might have hesitated to believe it, but this was Sword Uncle. Sword Uncle and Bone Uncle both had experience with spirit fusion skills themselves, so their assessment carried weight. Luckily, their injuries aren't too serious, Hu Yanzhen observed. Though Hu Yanli looked dreadful, the wounds were superficial, no internal trauma. At worst, parts of his skull were damaged, which spirit power could heal. Shui Binger and Shui Yuer exchanged satisfied smiles. Snowflakes drifted lazily around them, circling like a soft halo. Sister, let's go. Xiao Ze is still waiting for us. Okay. Shui Binger's voice was steady. A year had deepened her attachment to Xiao Ze. Part of it came from time spent together, part came from Xiao Ze's influence on her cooking. Over the past year, her culinary skills had climbed from inedible experiments to warm, home-style dishes. She still couldn't match Xiao Ze or Meng Yuran, but her food was finally something people enjoyed. She often cooked for Shui Yuer and Aunt Shui Yiyao when she returned to Tianshui. Aunt Shui Yiyao had never tasted Xiao Ze's cooking, so she was pleasantly surprised by Binger's efforts. Shui Wu and the other teammates watched the captain and vice-captain hurry back toward the resting area and shook their heads. Sigh, if it weren't for the matches, we might never see them. Isn't it normal? Xiao Ze is so excellent, handsome, strong. I heard he even has an 8-pack, a perfect boyfriend. Too bad the captain and vice-captain are taken, so no chance for me, Yuhiro teased. Come on, don't you want to see how the captain, vice-captain, and Xiao Ze get along? At the words, everyone crowded back. At the resting area's entrance, Xiao Ze stood waiting. The moment Shui Yuer spotted him, her big eyes lit up and she raced forward. Xiao Ze! She leapt into his arms, throwing her arms around his neck. Xiao Ze, you're the best. You actually waited for us. Of course, you're my people. Since you won, I had to wait, Xiao Ze said, supporting her at the waist. Shui Yuer giggled the way she always did. Xiao Ze, did you see? Hu Yanli and those big oafs were taken out in an instant by me and my sister. I saw. Our Yuer is amazing. Shui Binger arrived more quietly, still flecked with ice crystals in her hair. Her usually cool expression was softened into something like spring water. She stood beside Xiao Ze, tugged his sleeve, and said gently, Xiao Ze, we won. He freed a hand and stroked her hair. I saw. You did great. Shui Binger closed her eyes a little and leaned into the touch. Around them, the Tianshui girls watched fondly, like proud aunts. They looked so happy. Those smiles aren't fake for a second. Xiao Ze really dotes on them. He's even younger than the two of them. Looks like he'd make a great husband. I'm so jealous. I want a husband like that. Then go for it. He's right there. Are you crazy? Stealing from the captain. Xiao Ze ruffled Shui Yuer's back. Okay, down now. No way. Yuer clung on and rubbed against him, but at the teasing about the crowded resting area, she blushed and finally climbed down. Thick-skinned though she was, too many people still made her uneasy. Hand in hand, Xiao Ze led Shui Yuer and Shui Binger into the rest area. Yuer skipped happily, swinging their joined hands. Shui Binger was quieter, her ears a faint pink, her fingers tightening around Xiao Ze's. Look, isn't that the Tianshui sisters who just used the spirit fusion skill? They're with a man? 2 of them. Oh, my goddesses. Don't overthink it. Maybe your goddesses warm his bed at night. No! Liu Erlong watched the trio with a pang of jealousy. She knew she had little right to be jealous. The Tianshui sisters had Ning Rongrong's approval. Ning Rongrong mattered. She was Xiao Ze's favorite, his main wife, and her acceptance was crucial. Liu Erlong muttered to herself, half resigned, half determined, it seems I need to go find Ning Rongrong. On the other side, Huowu crossed her arms and asked, slightly teasing, Are you very happy with a girl on each arm? Chapter 237, Ning Rongrong, Who Dares to Object? The Shui sisters flanked him, one radiant and teasing, the other cool as frost, neither willing to let go. How about it? Huowu must be furious, right? Shui Yuer teased. Over the past year, Shui Yuer and Huowu had fought both openly and covertly, but it was all to win Xiao Ze. Humph. Huowu snorted, then turned to Xiao Ze. Xiao Ze, when I win, You have to come pick me up just like before. No problem. Xiao Ze nodded easily. The first rule of having a harem was fairness. Fairness and more fairness. As long as everyone felt treated fairly, major trouble usually didn't follow. Hearing his agreement, Huowu looked satisfied. Xiao Ze settled comfortably among the women, soaking up envious looks. The remaining matches were unremarkable, either crushing victories or contests between weaker teams. Nothing could match the excitement of Tianshui Academy versus Elephant Armor Academy. By noon, all of the day's events were over. Xiao Ze and the group planned to return to the villa when Ning Rongrong spotted a familiar figure, Liu Erlong, waving at her. Ning Rongrong's mind had sharpened. She instantly understood Liu Erlong's intent, and a smile curved her lips. She'd accept this sister. Xiao Ze, I have something to take care of. You all go on ahead. Want anything to eat? I'll buy it. That'd be great, Rongrongji. I want. And this and that. Got it, got it. After Xiao Ze and the others left, Ning Rongrong approached Liu Erlong cautiously. This isn't right. I'm the main wife. Why am I tiptoeing around? She muttered to herself, then straightened proudly. Although her retinue was much smaller than Liu Erlong's, Ning Rongrong's presence was stronger. After all, Liu Erlong was only a senior auntie who happened to like a younger man. Ning Rongrong was the eldest miss of the 7-treasure glazed tile school. She couldn't afford to lose face. Rongrong, there's something I want to talk to you about, Liu Erlong said, a little awkwardly. Her approach felt like testing the waters from above, but she knew that to be openly with Xiao Ze in the future, she had to get Ning Rongrong's blessing. What, about your relationship with Xiao Ze? Ning Rongrong's first question landed like a thunderclap. For a moment, Liu Erlong's mind went blank. How did she know? This can't be happening. You, she began, stunned. You want to know how I knew? Ning Rongrong clicked the bracelet on her wrist and winked. Be grateful. I was the one who told Xiao Ze to go find you. Liu Erlong froze. Her eyes widened and her lips trembled. You said what? Her voice dropped so low it was almost a whisper, as if afraid to startle Ning Rongrong. Otherwise, do you really think Brother Xiao Ze would go look for you on his own? He's dense as a post. Ning Rongrong plucked a leaf and toyed with it, pleased to see Liu Erlong beginning to melt like a schoolgirl in love. Liu Erlong touched her face as though to check it was still hers and felt tears prick at her eyes. Rongrong was so kind. If anyone dared cross Rongrong, it would be like crossing Liu Erlong herself. Loyalty. You don't mind? Liu Erlong's voice came out hoarse. Mind? What do you mean? Your age or you personally? If it's your age, once you become a Ne, titled Douluo generation, gaps don't matter. As for you personally, if I minded, I wouldn't have sent him to you. Ning Rongrong sounded casual. She hadn't expected Liu Erlong to be so moved. Only Yu Xiaogang's incident had caused this kind of reaction before. So Liu Erlong had truly fallen for Xiao Ze. His charm was impressive indeed. Even an older aunt could not resist. Liu Erlong's shoulders trembled slightly. Ning Rongrong stepped forward and patted her shoulder. Come on, let's go home. Liu Erlong hurriedly wiped her face. Can I really stay? Of course, the others already know about you. Besides, I've agreed to your status. Who dares to object? Ning Rongrong declared with quiet authority. Liu Erlong felt suddenly certain. If Ning Rongrong didn't become Xiao Ze's main wife, that would be the real problem. No matter what, Ning Rongrong would always put Xiao Ze first. She would never betray him. Now she understood why Xiao Ze liked Ning Rongrong so much. She deserved it. All right, let's go home. Yes, going home. Going home. When Ning Rongrong walked into the villa arm in arm with Liu Erlong, the living room fell utterly silent. Duguyan's hand trembled and some fish food scattered onto the floor. She admired Ning Rongrong a little. Unexpectedly, she had brought Liu Erlong home. No wonder Rongrong could be the boss. With such decisive action, who else could hold that position? Xiao Ze came out of the kitchen and froze when he saw Liu Erlong. Why are you here? Liu Erlong glanced at the dishes in his hands, surprised. She hadn't expected Xiao Ze to be able to cook. How wonderful. She smiled softly. I'll be living here from now on. Please look after me, my future little man. Wow, Principal Liu is bold, going straight on the offensive. Shu Yuer laughed. Shui Binger had no objections. As long as Brother Xiao Ze was happy, that was enough, although she might need to study more nourishing recipes. Rongrong, Xiao Ze started. How about it? Aren't you happy? Ning Rongrong tilted her head and smirked. Xiao Ze couldn't help but smile. You truly are my considerate main wife. Chapter 238, Lu Erlong's Initiative. Huo Wushuang clasped her hands in front of her chest. Dark red light converged wildly and instantly formed several palm-sized orbs. First soul skill. One after another, the orbs streaked toward Feng Xiaoqian in midair. They could change direction on the fly and came from all angles, trying to box him in. Feng Xiaoqian's eyes narrowed. His wind wings beat rapidly as he dodged through the air, but the number of orbs only grew, slowly weaving a dense net. This is bad. I need to deal with these fireballs, or they'll be impossible to handle once they get denser. Feng Xiaoqian's finger bones extended into 6 long wind blades, each wrapped in a high-speed rotating azure airflow. An illusory, 2-headed wolf-shaped light projection appeared behind him. He swept his arms in a crossing motion. The 6 wind blades blurred into a sky full of azure afterimages. Like a sudden storm, they hacked at the surrounding dark red orbs, slicing many in half, so they burst into scattered sparks. He didn't slow. His whole body spun like a hurricane, and the 6 blades formed an azure tornado that shredded the remaining light orbs. Huo Wushuang understood her first soul skill couldn't stop Feng Xiaoqian, but it had served its purpose: buy time and hold him back. Once she handled the others, Blazing Academy would win. She poured out everything she had. As her second spirit ring flared, a monstrous wall of fire erupted across the arena. Huo Wushuang's flames spread, hemming in all the members of Shenfeng Academy. Except for Feng Xiaoqian, most of Shenfeng's students couldn't fly. Not every wind attribute spirit master had that ability, and their wind attribute could not extinguish Huo Wushuang's blaze. The battlefield's been cut by more than half, someone muttered. Yeah, they're not scared of fire, but we are. Those flames came from Huo Wu. If we can take her out, we can't get through. Might as well wait. Huo Wu can't possibly sustain this much spirit power for a whole match, right? They tried blowing the flames with gusts of wind, but it was useless. Huo Wushuang stepped forward and unleashed her third soul skill, Repelling Fire Ring. A scorching ring of fire burst from her body. The shockwave sent 3 Shenfeng members flying. When their backs slammed into the outer wall of flame, their uniforms instantly seared and they cried out in pain. Cornered, they tried to flee, but Huo Li, a spirit elder, stood firm and fought them off. Huo Wushuang mentally noted Huo Li had been fierce today. She'd owe him 10 extra chicken drumsticks later. Fourth soul skill. Huo Wu's blazing sun, she shouted, cradling a brilliant white fireball between her hands as it slowly expanded. Feng Xiaoqian's azure wind wings flared, and the 6 wind blades roared with dazzling light. He knew how dangerous Huo Wushuang's fourth soul skill was. If it hit, Shenfeng Academy could be crippled. He had to break through. Seeing him prepare to charge, Huo Wushuang immediately countered with her own fourth soul skill, Blazing Dragon Breath, Prairie Fire. A torrent of dark red dragon breath poured out like a volcanic blast, hot air waves surging across the arena. Feng Xiaoqian spun again, the 6 wind blades leading the vortex. He was a genius. He combined his self-created spirit ability with other techniques to amplify his attack. Storm Devil Wolf, 36 consecutive slashes. The 6 blades slashed at a speed almost invisible to the eye, forcing a gap through Huo Wushuang's dragon breath. Not good, block him, Huo Wushuang roared, swinging her dragon-shaped arms to intercept, but it was too late. Huo Wushuang's killing move had already been launched. Huo Li felt the terrifying heat behind him and bolted, coughing up blood as he fled. Cough. I almost died. I'll need 20 chicken drumsticks after this. Boom. Rumble. The blazing sun slammed down, raising a 10-meter-high wall of fire. The blinding white light drew cries from the crowd. When the glare faded, 3 Shenfeng students lay charred outside the arena barrier. The referee dragged them to safety. Without immediate aid, they would have been severely burned. Huo Wushuang staggered, breathless. Phew, that drained a lot of spirit power, she panted, relieved that 3 opponents had been taken out. Feng Xiaoqian's expression had gone cold. With 3 teammates gone and himself being held in place, it was only a matter of time before the rest of Shenfeng fell apart. Huo Wushuang, you've gotten a lot stronger, Feng Xiaoqian conceded. You're the stubborn one, Huo Wushuang said with a huff. That first soul skill of mine doesn't kill anyone, it's just to hold you. Feng Xiaoqian's face tightened. He chastised himself silently. He could have flown higher and bypassed her. Idiot move. After a moment, Shenfeng Academy, seeing no path to victory, conceded. Blazing Academy wins. Huo Wushuang, like an excited little firebird, bounced back to the rest area, her uniform still warm from the flames. This girl. Huo Li shook his head. She leaped into Xiao Ze's arms and nearly sent him stumbling 2 steps before he steadied himself. Did you see? My Huo Wu's blazing sun blasted those 3 of them away, she gushed, cupping Xiao Ze's face with both hands. I saw. Our Huo Wu is amazing, he replied. He didn't have to say more. Huo Wushuang kissed Xiao Ze's face 3 times in quick succession, the crisp smacks making Shui Yuer from Tianshu Academy next door spill her teacup. Good heavens, how shameless, Shui Yuer hissed through gritted teeth. Sister, you're the same. I haven't even kissed him yet, Shui Binger whispered. What? Shui Yuer leaned in, but Shui Binger's voice was too soft. Nothing, sister. You're right. Exactly. That Huo Wushuang. Who knows what she'll do with Brother Xiao Ze tonight? We'd better keep an eye on them. Chapter 239, Huo Wu's Terrifying Output. Huo Wushuang clasped her hands in front of her chest, and dark red light surged together, instantly forming several palm-sized orbs of crimson flame. First, soul skill. One after another, the orbs shot toward Feng Xiaoqian through the air. They could change course mid-flight, locking onto him from every direction. Feng Xiaoqian's eyes narrowed. His wind wings vibrated, and he darted and weaved, but the number of fire orbs kept increasing until they began to form a dense net. This is bad. I have to get rid of those fireballs, or there'll be too many to handle, he thought. Feng Xiaotian extended his fingers, and 6 slender wind blades sprang into being, each wrapped in rapidly spinning green air. The illusory, double-headed wolf-shaped projection that trailed him flickered into view. Swish! He crossed his arms in a blur, and the 6 blades multiplied into a sky full of green afterimages. Like a sudden storm, they slashed through the dark red orbs. Each strike was precise, cleaving the fireballs in 2, so they detonated into scattering sparks. He didn't stop. Spinning like a hurricane, the blades merged into a green tornado that shredded the remaining orbs. Huo Wushuang watched and realized her first soul skill couldn't stop him. That didn't matter. Her goal was stalling Feng Xiaoqian. If she could occupy him long enough, the rest of Blazing Academy could win. She pushed all her spirit power into the fight. As her second spirit ring glowed, a monstrous wave of fire surged across the arena. Huo Wu's flames spread, encircling all the members of Shenfeng Academy. Only Feng Xiaoqian could fly. The other students couldn't take to the air, and not every wind attribute spirit master can suppress fire. Their wind couldn't dispel this blaze. Great, the battlefield's been cut in half, one Shenfeng student cursed. Exactly. They're not scared of fire. They are it. We are, another said. We have to take out Huo Wu, a third said. As long as we stop her, we can put the fires out. We can't break through. Let's wait. Huo Wu can't possibly keep this up the whole match, can she? They tried to disperse the flames with air currents, but it was useless. Third spirit ability, Repulsion Fire Ring. A scorching ring of fire exploded outward from Huo Wushuang. 3 Shenfeng students were thrown back by the shockwave. When their backs slammed into the outer wall of rolling flame, their uniforms seared, and they cried out in agony. The inferno was brutal. The 3 tried to flee, but Huo Li, a spirit elder, was holding a line, blocking a cluster of Shenfeng fighters. Huo Wu noticed how fierce Huo Li was today, and mentally made a note to reward him with 10 extra chicken drumsticks later. Fourth spirit ability, Huo Wu's Blazing Sun. Huo Wushuang cupped a white-hot fireball in her hands, and it began to swell slowly. Feng Xiaoqian's green wind wings fluttered violently. The 6 wind blades flared with brilliant light. He knew full well the power of the fourth spirit ability. If it hit home, Shenfeng wouldn't be able to continue. He had to break through. As Feng Xiaotian charged, Huo Wushuang unleashed her fourth move as well, blazing Hell Dragon's breath of the scorching plains. You won't get past, she roared. A torrent of dark red, volcanic dragon's breath poured outward, heat waves rippling in every direction. Feng Xiaoqian spun like before, the 6 blades at the eye of his tornado. Storm Devil Wolf 36 consecutive slashes. A genius in combat, he combined his own technique with the blades to multiply his power. The 6 wind blades blitzed in a blur, hacking a path straight through Huo Wushuang's dragon breath. Block him! Huo Wushuang bellowed, swinging her draconic arms to intercept Feng Xiaoqian's advance. But it was too late. The killing move had already been unleashed. The incandescent fireball shot toward the contested area. Huo Li felt the terrifying aura of flames behind him and bolted, blood spattering from his mouth. Cough, cough, I almost died. I'll need 20 chicken drumsticks for this, he wheezed. Boom, rumble. The blazing sun descended, stirring up a 10-meter-high wall of fire. The attack was compressed to the extreme. Its dazzling white light drew pained cries from the crowd. When the light faded, 3 Shenfeng students lay charred outside the barrier. The referees dragged them to safety. If not for that, they would have been badly injured. Huff, that drained a ton of spirit power, Huo Wu panted, relieved to see 3 opponents neutralized. It was better to have them out of the way now than to deal with them later. Feng Xiaoqian's heart sank. 3 teammates were gone, and Huo Wushuang kept blocking him. It was only a matter of time before the rest of his team were rendered ineffective. Huo Wushuang, you've gotten a lot stronger, he said through gritted teeth. You're the silly one, Huo Wushuang said with a smirk. Someone who can fly and you keep dueling me on the ground. My first soul skill isn't designed to kill anyone. Feng Xiaotian's expression stiffened. She was right. He could fly 50 meters up and bypass her. Damn it, why didn't I think of that sooner? After a moment, Shenfeng Academy, seeing no path to victory, surrendered. Blazing Academy wins. Huo Wu skipped back to the rest area like a delighted little fire sparrow. Her school uniform still shimmered with the leftover heat. This girl, Huo Wushuang muttered, shaking his head fondly. Huo Wu leapt into Xiao Ze's arms, knocking him back 2 steps before he steadied himself. Did you see that? Huo Wu's blazing sun blasted those 3 guys away, she crowed, grabbing Xiao Ze's face with both hands, ecstatic, not just from the win but because she knew she'd get a reward from brother Xiao Ze tonight. I saw. Our Huo Wu was amazing, Xiao Ze said. Smiling, he didn't get to say more before Huo Wu planted 3 quick kisses on his cheek. The sharp sounds made Shuiyuer from neighboring Tianshui Academy spill her teacup. Heavens, so shameless, Shuiyuer snapped, grinding her teeth. She'll do anything to brother Xiao Ze. Sister, don't you? Shui Binger began in a whisper. What did you say? Shuiyuer demanded. Nothing, sister, you're fine, Shui Binger replied in a voice too soft to be heard clearly. Exactly. Watch them tonight. That girl is insufferable. Who knows what she'll do to brother Xiao Ze? Shuiyuer muttered, eyes narrowed as she watched Huo Wu and Xiao Ze together. The matches moved on to Tianshui Academy and the other schools. Xiao Ze, Thunder Academy looks pretty strong. They already beat Elephant Armor Academy. I don't think Blazing Academy or Shenfeng Academy can stand against them, Ning Rongrong murmured. That's not surprising. Their lineup isn't great, but with the 7 treasure glazed tile pagodas boost, they're fierce. Tang San's control is solid too. It's nothing for us, but for others it's a real pain, especially since there's poison involved, Xiao Ze analyzed. With Ning Yuyu's support, Yu Tianheng and the others can just rush in. The other teams don't have that many combat-type spirit masters, so they'll get steamrolled, Ning Rongrong added. Should I ask someone from the 7 treasure glazed tile school to take Ning Yuyo captive? Ning Rongrong asked lightly. Xiao Ze blinked in surprise. There's no need. And anyway, you have no reason to bring her back. Who says I don't have a reason? Ning Rongrong smiled slyly. Du Guyan raised an eyebrow. What reason? I've been watching her for a while. She's awfully cozy with Oscar, Thunder Academy's sausage spirit master. They're clearly flirting, maybe even dating, Ning Rongrong said conspiratorially. Wow, Rongrong, your eyes are amazing, someone teased. Of course, Ning Rongrong said proudly. Our 7 treasure glazed tile pagoda spirit can't be transmitted outside the school, so Ning Yoyo shouldn't even think about having children. Besides, she won't find a man here. We should find a chance to just abduct her. Suit yourself, Xiao Ze muttered, wanting no part in it. He still knew whose woman he wanted. Ning Yoyo couldn't begin to compare to Ning Rongrong. Leave it to me, Ning Rongrong declared, puffing out her chest a little. Xiao Ze smiled at her confidence. Rongrong, you've come a long way. Rongrong's cheeks flushed and she lightly swatted him. You want to die? Ha! The girls laughed. Once the smallest among them, Ning Rongrong had grown until she was about the size of Shui Binger. Juju King remained the largest, Ye Lingling second. As a healing-type spirit master, Ye Lingling had developed astonishingly, where once she might have fit in one hand, she now required two. Compared to Zhu Qing's head-sized, she was still smaller, but catching up. The others were all much the same. The night deepened. Huowu slipped out of her room on bare feet, the cool floor quiet beneath her. She wore a thin, cicada-wing gauze dress that the moonlight softened around her curves. A mischievous, victorious smile played on her lips. Hehe, Xiao Ze can't escape tonight, she thought. Even if she couldn't do much, just sleeping next to him would be delicious. She could hook her legs over him at least. Her fingertips had just brushed Xiao Ze's doorknob when two cold hands landed on her shoulders. Huowu froze, nearly crying out, and spun around. Shui Binger stood there, half smiling, while Shuyuer wore a sly grin. Whoa, so late? Where were you off to? Shuyuer cooed, her voice sweet enough to set Huowu's nerves on edge. I was just taking a walk. Huowu said awkwardly and tried to retreat, but Shui Binger caught her wrist. A walk in that? Shuyuer hooked a finger into the thin gauze. What's the difference between wearing that and not wearing anything? Before Huowu could explain, the two sisters looped her arms and hauled her back to their room. The door slammed, and Huowu was dumped onto a large, soft bed. Wait, let me explain, she started. Shuyuer pounced, straddling Huowu's thighs and pinning her down, hands planted on either side of her head. Explain what? Huowu, you can't sneak bites. We agreed Xiao Ze's first time belongs to Rongrong, and after that, it's up to each of us. Shui Binger locked the door with a leisurely motion and stepped closer. Huowu fought back tears. I only wanted to sleep with Xiao Ze for one night. I wasn't planning anything else. That still won't do. It's not just that we don't trust you, Shuyuer said with mock scorn. With a body like yours and that saucy little look, what if Xiao Ze can't control himself? Look at what you're wearing. Your chest is practically exposed. Her tone held a hint of jealousy. She'd likely dress far more provocative if she had the chance. Huowu's face flamed. She had thought about it, but she wouldn't let Xiao Ze have his way. She'd use other methods. They'd all studied exotic techniques with Yan Yan and Rongrong, learned things she'd never seen before. Mouths, hands, feet, there were so many ways to play. Those lessons had opened her eyes. Shuyuer pressed one hand to Huowu's wrist and tickled lightly at her palm, making her squirm. The two of them were close and knew all Huowu's weak spots. Stop! Stop, Shuyuer! You're killing me! Huowu laughed helplessly. Shui Binger sat poised on the bed's edge. A wisp of cold condensed on her fingertip, and she touched Huowu's waist. The icy sting made Huowu yelp and jerk, but Shuyuer kept her pinned. Huowu, sneaking off to find Xiao Ze. That deserves punishment, Shui Binger said in a chilly voice. Exactly. We all agreed we'd go together. You sneaking off is naughty, Shuyuer chimed, slipping a hand under Huowu's clothing and tickling her side. Naughty girls get punished, you know. Ah, stop! This is too much. Huowu laughed until tears sprang to her eyes, twisting and straining to break free, but Shuyuer held her body down. Shui Binger's smile tightened. The cold fingertip brushed Huowu's neck. So cold. Shui Binger, you're getting even. Tormented by the two of them, Huowu's face was bright red, equal parts angry and laughing. Just you wait. When I get the chance, I'll see how you like it. You'll get your chance? Not today. Finally exhausted, Huowu burst into pleading laughter. I'm sorry, please. Shuyuer and Shui Binger exchanged a look, then, apparently satisfied, withdrew their hands.